Are you kidding me? Is it Sunday night already? Holy shit, a whole nother week has begun. I am the Old Humble Guy, and this is your Sunday night happy hour, Old Humble's late night sip and chill. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Because I had a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to a great week. I'm looking forward to a really great week. It is the week of February 5th. We are going from the 5th to the 11th this week. We've got all kinds of cool stuff, like at the distillery. I've got all kinds of cool stuff going on this week. I'm actually going to be working on a couple of crafty things that I will be probably recording live and showing off this week during the couple of day in the life episodes. I've got a few projects that I'm working on. I want to play around with some projects so that I can actually use some stuff from the distillery for some like farmers market stuff. I'm demolding my ice here so that I can have myself a cocktail tonight. And I don't know, should I do Scott? I'm going to do some. Oh wow, I'm almost out of Wishi. Well, I guess this can dictate that it'll be a fairly quick night. If I run out of Wishi tonight, it'll be a fairly quick night. I don't have much Boomtown either. Holy crap! I'm running out of whiskey. I got probably more scotch than I have with anything else. So I'll do some scotch tonight. I'll do some scotch. So pour yourself your cocktail. A couple of updates that we can expect this week. I'm going to be testing. I'll be doing a video of testing my next barrels that I'm going to be unbarreling at the distillery. I'll be testing the next barrels that I unbottle at the distillery. I'll be recording that, posting that video. Did I have anything else back here though? Oh, I want to do a shot of Special Reserve to open the night. I'm going to do a little project with these little guys. I need to get a new piece of equipment at my distillery. Nothing extravagant, just a vertical press, a vertical drill press that we do. That I can do holes in wood. So the idea, I'm going to make a set of shot glass caddies so that the shot glass can go in there, as well as some bottle caddies. That's glass. Bottle caddies. So bottle caddy where the bottle goes in. We have shot glasses on either side. Because I was thinking about it after I did that decanter episode, the decanter video. It's not really an episode. I was thinking about it, and like I'm making my bottles nice so that you don't need to have a decanter, right? You can actually put these on the kitchen table and present these as the bottle itself. It's nice. That's the intent. It's just as intended to be just as nice as a decanter, but it's actually sealed and corked, so the whiskey's not going to evaporate. You can present it. You can have it there. It can be really nice. But at the same time, it would be really nice if you could have like that decanter, the whiskey decanted along with your shot glasses, and sit it up there on your mantelpiece with a nice wood finish, nice wood grain finish. So I don't have to get mahogany wood. I can just use my palette wood and stain it with the mahogany color. Cheers to chat. Cheers to everybody else out there who will be stumbling across this. I was looking at my qualified hours for monetization, and I am 1 hour short of 2,100 hours. So I was like, I should probably get 1 hour in tonight, just for shits and giggles, right? Cheers. You're welcome to join me. I'd love to have you on. In fact, I'm going to put the link in invite guests. My graphics card will only handle 3 guests. After that, it gets a little bit dodgy. So I'll take 3 guests at a time. We'll pin that into chat. So in the news this week has been fun. It has been fun. We've had a weather balloon surveillance data, whatever, balloon from China floating across our airspace. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And everybody was beside themselves, pissed off, angry, upset because we're such a laughing stock. You wouldn't do anything about it. And how they don't even think they know we wouldn't do anything. They're testing our response. What if it's an EMP? Oh no, we're all going to die. Meanwhile, all the Second Amendment absolutists, the ammo sexuals who are just certain that they're going to be able to use their guns to hold off the U.S. military and shoot foreign tanks into submission with their deer rifles. Couldn't do anything about it because, it's a weather balloon flying at 60,000 feet. Also, if the Chinese can do it with a satellite on a weather balloon, I can definitely do it with a whiskey barrel on a weather balloon. I mean, come on. Whiskey barrel's got to be lighter. It's got to be lighter than a satellite. It's got to be lighter than some surveillance equipment. A whiskey barrel, a 3-gallon whiskey barrel. Hell, I can do it with I can do it with one of these. It's about a liter, I think. It's about a 1 liter barrel. I could put this on a weather balloon. I could absolutely put this on a weather balloon. Well, the weather balloon, I wonder if emblazon it on the side, so when it's sitting there on the weather balloon this way, also have it on this side. Logo on this side, logo on the side here. So when it's floating up in the air, you can see it. Oh, I guess I could do it. I could do it any which way, I suppose. But I'm not going to have this. This isn't going to be part of the space whiskey. It's going to be a solid face. But just going shh. You see that earth behind it slowly going into the curve? Dude, we could do this. Like I said, if China can do it with a weather balloon and a satellite, I can do it with a whiskey. But this will probably be a summer 2024 project. Because I've got a lot of work still to do at the distillery this year. I've got a lot to do at the distillery this year. So projects, just a handful of projects that we need to do at the distillery. I need to build out the tasting room and office and bathroom and bar area on that side of the distillery. I need to get my steam generators fully installed, my steam generator fully installed and plugged into the electrical system. I need to get our water distribution, internal water distribution set up properly so that I can have water at my bar. All of my electrical outlets plugged in properly. I need to get the floors finished properly. It just sucks when you don't have any fucking money. You have more projects than money. And then I need to get a green screen, a new video equipment, a new computer. I'm debating in my mind about whether or not I should get a new laptop or a new desktop. I mean, I can use my laptop's fine for most work that I have to do. And I can bounce between here at the office with my laptop and there at the office with my laptop. And for the most part, here at the office, my laptop works fine. For the most part. It's a little dodgy when I'm trying to stream, but I could just save my heavy-duty streaming stuff for the distillery. I don't know. I would like to be able to do more graphics-heavy stuff with my system here, but I can't. I just can't. My system won't let me, and that's kind of frustrating. Ask me anything. Let's see here. We did ancient civilizations. Wow, we could talk about anything. Okay, we're fine. What about graphics? Do I have good graphics? What's this? That's adding my logo. I need to add my logo later. Can I add my products back to the list? Close you. Add you. Show you. Oh, yeah. This is important. If you want to shop our store while it's still cold, we have hoodies available at our Teespring store. It's down there in the crawl. Subscribe today. Check out our merch. $41.99 for a Teespring hoodie. I will be doing a YouTube sale going into the summer on the t-shirts. We'll do a 10% off on the t-shirts. Then what's it say in chat? Oh, it pops it up into chat too. That's cool. Every time I hit that QR code, it pops it up into chat. And I can even show up a tip sign there. If you want to tip me, don't tip me, please. What's that? Oh, that puts them on the side over there. That's kind of cool. We're not going to keep it that way though. All right, that's all I want to talk about that. I'm not going to stress the Teespring store very much. But I am going to have these little projects that I work on over the next couple of weeks. Once I get the vertical press, the drill press, I'll be working on these projects, and I will put the shot glass caddy and the bottle caddy in our store to be sold. In our company store, not the Teespring store, the company store. So you can pick up you want to get a bottle, you want to get a bottle caddy, along with your bottle. You can get a bottle caddy along with your bottle caddy and 4 shot glasses. It'll probably be like a $100 deal to get the caddy, the 4 shot glasses, and the bottle. Do a little package deal for $100. And I'll probably have just a handful. Like the shot glass caddy, probably $20 for 2 and $40 for 4. Yeah, that sounds about right. Handcrafted, all that cool stuff. I would like to get a table saw, as well as the vertical press. So I want to get 2 pieces of equipment. Really, I want to get a table saw and a vertical press. With the table saw, I can actually take. I also need to use that table saw because I want to have that table saw because I'm going to be working on my cedar tank template. I forgot all about that project. I'm going to have my fermentation tanks. I'm going to replace the totes that I'm using as fermentation tanks with cedar wood, Western red cedar tanks. So Western red cedar wood will be replacing our totes, and I'm going to hand make those myself. And it's not really that complicated to make a wooden tank. You measure the circumference, you divide it by the width of your boards, you buy that number of boards, you cut the boards at the angle, you cut a little foot in the bottom of the boards, you build the base on a double layer, so you have it crossways like this. So you have one layer going this way, one layer at 90 degrees, so that the base of it will swell. And if anything gets through the top, it gets to the bottom, and the bottom swells up and catches any liquid that falls through. And then you soak it really good with water for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to make sure that those planks are nice and juicy. And then it's ready to take some cooked grains and water, and fermentable wash can then go into your tanks. There's 2 other pieces that need to go into. There's a copper coil that goes around the outside to cool down the wort and make sure it stays at a steady temperature. And then there's the plumbing to the chilling unit to make sure that everything stays nice and steady at an even temperature. That's going to be probably the second biggest project that I have to do after getting the steam generator plugged in, getting my motor gasket on my water pump fixed and all plumbed back in and sent with pipes sent through the shop to make sure that everything works. So we're going to have a big summer. We got a big summer. We got a trip being planned to go visit San Marcos in the spring. I'm going to do a tasting in I hope to do a tasting in San Marcos in the spring. Maybe College Station, maybe Austin, kind of bounce through those areas while we're out there. They're visiting colleges. I can do some work, get some tastings knocked out. Be fun for the whole family. And then roll out to come summertime. Gonna probably do my world tour of the summer with Spec Stores and Total Wine Stores, supporting our Boomtown Bourbon, the legendary Boomtown Bourbon, which is returned to stores. Delicious, nutritious, makes you a better dancer, is not nutritious. Speaking of which, does anybody remember Clubhouse? Y'all remember Clubhouse? Let me look up Clubhouse, see if that's still a thing. Last I checked out Clubhouse, it was a just an absolute garbage fire of people talking about dating and looking for dates and just all kinds of gross, just terrible nonsense. During the pandemic, it was pretty cool. Can I put me on the other side? I can't. We can't rearrange this, can we? Put me down here. So this is Clubhouse. Clubhouse was basically a chat-based social network. Can we scroll down? Okay. So it's chat-based social network where you could literally go and just hang out with people, talk about all the stuff. It is, wow. It is sparse. This is their website. This is terrible. It's an invitation-based platform. You need to get an invitation from somebody who is on Clubhouse. I mean, during the pandemic, it was cool because you couldn't go outside and talk to people. You couldn't go places to talk to people, so it was a really cool place to network and chat and talk to people that way. But then YouTube, or not YouTube, Twitter started their Twitter Spaces. Facebook started their Facebook Spaces. And then you could literally talk with your network of people on your other social media networks. And then the last time, probably, oh God, it's probably been 8 months. 8 months since I've been on. It was really cool because I could talk to other distillers and marketers and people in the business. And, I'm in the early infancy stages of getting my business up and running. And they're like, yeah, it's tough. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. Good job. Keep it up. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll keep it up. I'll keep doing what I need to do. So it was really good to have that affirmation and that those networking opportunities. But since then, like I said last time, like 8 months ago, I popped into Clubhouse, and in fact, I'm going to go check it out right now. I think I've deleted the app off my phone. Is it gone? Yeah, it's gone. Clubhouse, Clubhouse. It is not on my phone anymore. It tells you how great of an app it was. Let's look it up real quick. Club UB House. We're going to open it, download it from the cloud, open it up. Then we're going to look and see what the current topics are on Clubhouse because I'm kind of curious. We'll let this load up for just a minute, and then we'll go check it out. It's going to be fun. I can only do it on my phone too. So maybe I could join with my phone and then share the screen from my phone. Can I do that? Am I allowed to do that? I think I am. So join from my phone with Safari. Mute everything. This is going to be interesting. If I can actually pull this off, because then I can share the screen from my phone and we can look and see what garbage is on Clubhouse right now. If there's any garbage. Allow access to camera. We're going to mute both mobile. Hold on. Join the stream. There I am over there. Oh, shush. Mute. Quiet. Okay. Now, how do I add me in? There I am over there. But how do I share my screen? Audio input, echo cancellation, noise suppression. Nope. Audio input. None. Please. Thank you. Audio. Okay. Oops. I just closed myself out. Anyway, okay, so I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't share my screen. Log in. 1 second. Nope. Let's try this again. All right, we're in. They just texted me a code. But my phone is on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't get the code. All right, there we go. This is great YouTube, isn't it? Me on my phone, y'all watching me be on my phone. Do not allow notifications. Thank you very much. Do not access my contacts. I do accept the new terms of service. Okay, here I'm into my Clubhouse account. Let's look. By the way, if y'all are on Clubhouse and you want to talk with me, hey, it's you. Happy anniversary. I made Clubhouse extra special this year. I don't think I've been on Clubhouse in a year. It's been more than 8 months since I've been on Clubhouse. Just an absolute dumpster fire last time I was on. Okay, the secret law of attraction, the magic of believing. What's going on and why you should care is the next topic. It says, I am Tehran. Chat GPT Money Club. The end of hype, beginning of results, 3,000 books this month. Grammys Day. Flower Bomb. It's a club. Press Club. More in Music. Keep It Truckin'. These are all related interests and clubs for me. Jesus Christ. The Winners Club. Here's the next topic up. Since we exposing shit with 3 T's, let's expose everything. Divided We Fall is the next chat room. Republicans and Democrats. Hocus 45th's Rabbit Hole Estates. Hi, Vanessa Kitty. Cheers. Thailand to ban Pfizer after princess have coma over or after shot. Eat up with ya feet up. Shit you not. Eat up with ya feet up. That's what it says. Eat up with ya feet up. Jesus fucking Christ. Men are no longer obsessed with women they like. Is the Cuffing Lounge. Life hacks for night. Clock. Oh, nighttime, I guess is what that's supposed to be. Sunday service. The fall of the 1W3 money T with / whack. God damn. This is Clubhouse. This is why I haven't been on Clubhouse in like a year and change. It is absolute trash. The homeless $65 begging girl Onsta back at it go live. This was a place during the pandemic where like professionals could communicate with each other and talk about best practices, talk about making their way through the pandemic, keeping their business afloat, keeping their business alive. And now it's stop letting women define masculinity. Grammys watch party. God damn, we could do a whole show on like what happened to Clubhouse. Content Creator Lounge, social media, 101 tips and tricks. Good Lord. Join a house for mathematicians. Michelle Fox joined a book club. Who's Michelle Fox? I don't know who these people are. A whiskey introvert. Sounds like it could be a fun name or a fun person. The whiskey introvert. Pizza Roundtable coming at 8 p.m. on Thursday, February 9th. These are upcoming rooms. All social media is not created the same. And again, Clubhouse is a voice-based, talk-based social media network. So it's, you open it up and you talk. You're talking to people. You're monologuing, talking to people. Other people get involved in the conversation, et cetera, et cetera. What Up Web 3 is Friday, February 10th. And then from the Startup Club on Saturday the 11th, data-driven marketing for startups. I don't know any of these people. Such an absolute disappointment. Thursday, host of Old Humble Happy Hour podcast, Thursday, 9 p.m. on YouTube. Husband, father, adventurer, whiskey enthusiast. What a fucking dumpster fire. All right. Back to the YouTubes. So I wish I had a really cool math problem to talk about today, Vanessa, but I don't. Uh, I don't. But I can tell you, I thoroughly, working with my son on his algebra, doing just uh, basic um, uh, quadratic equations, talking about the difference between a formula and an equation, talking about, equations are equal to something. Formulas are, functions of x, where x equals the formula, equations are all this stuff equals zero or some other number. Talking to him about this stuff, it was really fun. And I'm seriously thinking about just going and getting like a part time job over at the Mathnasium around the corner, the little tutoring shop, and doing some math tutoring uh, for some kids, after school type of stuff. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a great way to spend my free time, uh, earn a little bit of extra cash outside of the distillery, take a little bit of pressure off the distillery. I think it'd actually be kind of fun. I might do it. I might just do it. Go over to the Mathnasium, kick in the door, and say, "Bitches, let's talk about some algebra. Yeehaw!" And then do my air guns. Pew, 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 pew. Because, like Yosemite Sam, we's gonna do some algebrating. Yeehaw! Pew, 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 pew. uh, and I'm actually, I had been talking the last couple of weeks about doing a whiskey giveaway in March, but I really don't like doing whiskey giveaways. I don't want to do a whiskey giveaway. I don't like giving away my whiskey. Vanessa, you may be the last person who got a free bottle of whiskey from me. You got samples too. You might be the last person who got a bottle as a giveaway from a show. I'd kind of like to do it, but I don't want to. I don't want to create content in a community based on me bribing them with whiskey. You know what I mean? Um, like I want to create shitty content, and I want to have a community that enjoys my shitty content that I make. Because don't get me wrong, this is not Netflix. This is not Netflix and chill. This is not Hulu. This is not Amazon Prime. This is not top-notch entertainment here. I am under no delusions whatsoever. There are YouTubers who are much better than I am, but this is a conversation-based happy hour. I'm enjoying my cocktail. You're enjoying your cocktail. I'm coming on for an hour, 2 hours tops. We're talking about shit going on in the world. I'm having a drink. You're having a drink. We're just relaxing and having a good time, right? This isn't supposed to be earth shattering, world moving, um, eye opening, soul shifting type of content. This is just one dumb dumb and another dumb dumb chilling out and having a good conversation, right? Hopefully, you're welcome to join the conversation. Always, always, always. But we can only have four, maximum of four people, and I'm one of those people. Um, and I can play my harmonica a little bit during that period. There's nothing stopping me. I can do it. I can do whatever I want on my own show. So anyway, what was I talking about before? Oh, the balloon. Yeah. So the Chinese sent a balloon off, and people acting like we don't do the same stuff. We send spy planes. We have spy satellites. China has spy satellites. You are acting like they don't have satellites over our territory looking at all this stuff, or we don't have satellites over their territory looking at all their stuff, or Russia doesn't have satellites over everyone's territory and their territory and our territory. They did not collect any information that we didn't want them to collect. They didn't transmit anything that we weren't okay with them transmitting. They didn't do anything that we didn't allow them to do. China's not going to start a fucking war with the United States. China is facing imminent population collapse. You know why unemployment is so low right now? It's because we're moving manufacturing jobs back on shore from China. China had to shut down so many factories during this pandemic. They're still hobbled because of the pandemic. They still haven't fully opened all of their factories and all of their. They became an unreliable partner, an unreliable link in the supply chain, and all this inflation that we're facing right now. That is a almost complete, almost completely related to the breakdown of the supply side of the supply side economics that were put into place in the 80s. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter how much money you have in circulation. I mean, it matters. Money's in circulation is part of the equation. But if you have enough stuff in the mix, enough stuff in the matrix, enough stuff in the supply chain that can turn that money into stuff and that stuff into junk and that junk into landfill shit, and then that more money comes and buys more stuff and replaces the shit that got turned into landfill junk, it's okay. It's not going to really be that big of a deal with inflation. And companies are much more interested in replacing their supply chain and getting their systems fixed and updated and upgraded. I mean, I was focused on my supply chain for the last year and a half because my supply chain has been just completely and totally bent over a literal barrel. Not in the best circumstances to be over a barrel right now. I guarantee that, because it sucks. It absolutely sucks to be sitting here looking at your cost inputs tripling over the course of 2 years. That is hard to accommodate. Extremely hard to accommodate, especially when you're a small business that's starving for capital and starving for inventory. Big challenge. No kidding. No. All kidding aside, all joking aside, I mean, real talk. Starting a business is hard. You've got savings that gives you a bit of a runway, but you need to create a revenue stream out of literally nothing. And there's a lot of variables in that revenue stream, because you're relying on people to come to. In my case, I need people to come to a store to buy my product, where buyers will replace the product, and the distributor they'll replace the product from the distributor, and then the distributor buys it from me. And if the distributor doesn't maintain an inventory on their warehouse, then the stores, they make the request, the distributor makes their request. So there's a lag between the point where the store sells out and the store makes the request. And then the store makes the request to the distributor, and the distributor sends it to me, and then I can supply the product to the distributor. And there's a lag all the way up that side of the chain. And then down the other side of the chain, there's a lag, because I've got to supply it can be, 2 or 3 weeks to supply the product, and then another couple of weeks to get it to the stores, and another few days to get it on the shelves. So it could be, from the point where the request is made, it could be a full month before my product, 2 months before my product shows up on the shelves. And all the while, I've got to pay rent. I've got to pay people. I've got to pay I've got to pay rent and my mortgage. I've got to pay utility bills. I've got to pay for water. I've got to pay for electricity. I've got to pay for internet. I've got to pay for all the stuff. In fact, I should probably cancel the internet at the distillery. If I'm not going to be doing events at the distillery, I should just go with the Wi-Fi. I probably should cancel the broadband at the distillery. It'd save me a couple $100, but you're also paying for marketing. You're paying for You're paying for social media outreach. You're paying for all the stuff that you have to do. All the while, you're waiting on the product to go, or the order to go from the store to me, and then the product go from me to the store, and then you wait on a 30 to 60 day lag to get paid. It is a pain in the ass. It's hard, especially in the first 3 years, 4 years. And then, you still have all the product inputs, the production inputs. You got all the cost of goods, the batch cost to produce your product. In my case, we talk about like shirts and stuff. They got to buy cotton, they got to buy string, needle and thread and the equipment and the people and all the stuff that has to, you don't just lay people off waiting for a store to order your t-shirts. You're making t-shirts every single day. Oh, my foot is sore. But in my case, we've got barrels and whiskey and um, labels and bottles and corks and bags and boxes and all the shit that has to go into all the pieces of the product. It's not easy. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of irons in the fire. There's a lot of things to be considered all the way up and down the line. It's not hard, it's not easy to keep it all in. It's not easy to keep it all under control, but it's not like impossible. It's not. It's hard, but it's not impossible. It's a task that be done. It really is. I mean, it's a very complicated mathematics problem. Um, because you can build this all into a model on a spreadsheet. Say, okay, I need to do this many products this year, which gets broken into this many each month, and to do that every month, you do that. But you see, you can't just buy 30 bottles. You can't buy 200 bottles. You can't buy 500 bottles. You got to buy 1,080 at a time. So it's not like I can just, I need to do a batch of 500 bottles, so I go get 500 bottles. Nah, that's not how it works. I need to do a batch of 500 bottles, so I get 500 labels. Nah, that's not how it works. You got to buy a minimum batch of 4,000 labels, or a minimum batch of 2,000 corks for your bottles. You got to buy, all these minimum batches. And it's not a complaint. It's just the reality of how the business works. It's not easy. It's fun, man. I tell you, I'd much rather solve these problems on a daily damn basis than push papers around and file paperwork for a bank. Absolutely, 100%. Much rather do that than what I was doing before. But not gonna lie, I miss having a regular paycheck sometimes. I miss the security of a regular paycheck. I miss the security of health insurance. I miss the security of being confident enough that I can just go for a run and not worry about twisting my ankle, because if I twist my ankle, I can just go to the doctor and get it fixed. But if I go for a run now and I twist my ankle, I'm kind of fucked. If I go for a run or go for a bike ride and I blow out my knee, I'm kind of fucked. I mean, I've got health insurance, but health insurance when you're your own employee, when you're your own employer rather, is not the same when it's health insurance when you're with a cooperative group like some corporation, because it's not just paying for the medical care, it's also paying for the work that you miss when you get injured and hurt. It's a challenge. There's a lot that goes into it that we don't even think about. There's a lot that goes into it that we don't even think about. You get sick, who's going to do it? I mean, that was kind of part of the matrix, the math with the pandemic. If I go out and do tastings and I get sick and I lose 2 weeks worth of work, partly from quarantine and partly from being just sick, who the fuck's going to take my place? I go to a store and I sell a case and a half to 2 cases of whiskey. Who's going to take my place when I have to be on my back, sick, sweating bullets for 10 days? Who's going to take my place? Well, 6 days. You're sweating bullets for 6 days. You're quarantined for 6 days. Who's going to take my place? Who's going to open up the shop on Friday night? Who's going to go to Specs and talk to, 75 people on a slow night? Talk to 75 people and get them as they come through the door. Say, hi, would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? And say that 250 times in order to get 60 people to talk to you, in order to get 30 of them to buy a bottle. That's the math. You talk to inquire to 250 people in order to get 30 people to buy a bottle. But on slow nights, it's probably closer to 100 and 100. And then half of them say yes, then half of them buy a bottle. The best nights have been, I do 13 samples, sell 13 bottles, and I'm out the door. Those are great nights. It feels great. They're receptive, they're excited, they're looking for something new. You give them the whiskey, they buy the whiskey, and you sign the bottle. And next thing you know, it's going there at 5 o'clock. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock, and you're out the door. Nick Nepper is in the house. Cheers, my main man, Nick. Hey, Nick, you're up in Kingwood, right? You're just up the street, right around the corner from me. Just want to give you a heads up and let you know we have 5 bottles left at the store. We have 5 bottles left at the shop. So if you want one, of those bottles, you need to get to the distillery by between 5 and 9 o'clock on Friday, and come in and get a bottle of our whiskey, because like I said, there's this many left. 5. I have a handful that are for marketing purposes, but 5 is all we have. Looky there, Sunflowers has just joined the party. Sunflowers is over there in the green room. Oh, Sunflowers, how are you, my dear friend?
Fantastic.
Cheers and salutations, Sunflowers. How
I'm
are you?
fantastic, and you?
Oh, you're on my headphones. I need to plug my headphones in.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh,
Now
I'm
I can hear you.
fantastic.
What's up, my lady? Well, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Well, it's been a hard last few weeks, but that's life.
Well, yeah. What's the dumb meme? Doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, matters how many times you get back up.
Yeah, I've tried. So, what do you have on tap here for tonight?
Absolutely nothing. It is a wide open form. I've been talking about the stupid Chinese balloon. I've been talking about the business and how, just the general challenge it is to start a business.
Oh.
I'm letting Nick know right now that it is every Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. There we go. Every Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. while supplies last. Because we only have 5 bottles left. He lives right around the corner from the distillery. Probably 20 minutes from the distillery, which is in Texas terms right around the corner. And if you want, and we have 5 bottles left.
Okay, I'm curious about something. So you made a batch. We saw you do it.
I did.
Like, what was that?
Yep.
A week ago?
It was the last week of January. Yeah.
Okay. So how often do you make batches? So they know. What is your plan?
It depends. But this year the goal is to have a batch a month every month, and the next batch I'm doing is a triple batch. So it's a large batch because I've got a lot of inquiries from some distributors, and I'm trying to stock up the stores. So this next batch is like 65 cases. But it's not all going to the same place, and I'm only going to keep a few. And it's slightly, every batch is slightly different. But the only batch that was the first batch of this batch of bourbon was the batch that I did in January. It is batch what do I call it? 23 or batch 0423-01.
Okay, that's cool.
That is the first batch. Or I'm sorry, this was the 4th batch of bourbon. And it's a big batch of bourbon, so it's the 4th batch of bourbon. We aged up some barrels, and this is the first release from the 4th batch that was in the year 2023. So 0423-01.
Okay.
My next batch will be 0423-02, and it's going to go. It's not as special. It's not as It's still delicious. It's not as special. Some of it's going to be our blackout bourbon. Some of it's going to be our Boomtown bourbon. Most of it's going to go to stores. Some of it's going to go to stores abroad.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like in places that are far outside of Houston is what I mean to say.
Oh, you don't mean like to a foreign country?
No, like possibly Alberta, Canada.
Oh, well, that is a foreign country.
Possibly. We're in discussions, but when I say abroad, it could be anywhere from Amarillo to Alberta.
Speaking of which,
we're working.
I might be able to get you a customer. I know somebody who lives there.
Ooh, in Alberta?
I don't know if he drinks whiskey.
Very cool.
I'll ask him.
Well, if he's close to a Costco, that's where I'm.
I'll spread the word to him, and it's up to him.
Okay. Yeah, that's how
I
you
found
work.
out where he lived by accident because he didn't want to say
Uh-oh.
any money to comment. And I go, by any chance, do you live in Alberta? He's like, well, he gave it away.
Not that I'm stalking
No,
you
no,
or
no.
anything,
He said
but
something political, and I put two and two together because I heard things about Alberta,
uh-oh.
and I just took a guess.
You're putting two and two together. That gets you
Okay, so
burned at the stake for a witch.
I have another.
Oops.
I have another inquiry for you.
Okay.
So I asked you here. So now you have it out there for YouTube to know when you make batches.
Uh-huh.
How do you get the?
Yeah.
How do people like if they're in Texas? How will they know?
Well,
How's
there's
it work?
a few different outlets that I use. I've got my my newsletter, my periodic
I
newsletter
subscribe.
that I send out. When I have important stuff to say, I send out stuff in the newsletter, and I try to keep it a 3 or 4 a month, and not spam people with
Okay, wait a
garbage.
minute. How do they
Um,
find your newsletter? In case nobody here knows.
that is being subscribed through our website, oldhumbledistilling.com.
That's what I did.
You can subscribe to the newsletter for communication or whatever, stay in contact. Old Humble
That's how I found out
Distilling.com.
you were doing the reserving. Wow.
Right. And usually when I have a special batch of bourbon, like when our blackout bourbon comes out, I'm only going to have a handful of labels for the blackout bourbon. Like this first batch was only 271 bottles that we made. Some of them went to the Humble Rodeo cook teams. I keep some of them for marketing purposes. And the rest of them would have gone to the distributor, except that people reserved their bottles. So I wanted to make sure that some people had a chance to reserve their bottles. So I did the $10 pre-reservation or $10 reservation opportunity so that I would hold on to those bottles until the end of February.
Gotcha.
Come the end of February, if they don't come and pick up their bottles, I'm going to sell them to somebody.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's not going to be that hard, but I'll hold on to it to the end of February so that people can come
And
get
do they know that?
Oh yeah. I just sent out emails on Friday to let people know we'll be there till.
That's fair.
We'll be there from 5 to 9. Come and pick up your bottle. You got to pay the balance.
Okay.
The $10 goes towards the balance. So it's a $60 bottle of whiskey. You pay $10 to reserve it. You pay the remaining $50. You go home with a bottle of whiskey.
Okay, so you're going to make about a batch a month. You said, right?
That's the
Does
goal.
that mean
About
it's
25 cases a month.
Does that mean it's always going to go to a store?
No, that means some of it will be available at the distillery. Some of it will go to.
Because I was going to ask, how do you get it?
This next batch is a big. This next batch we're doing is a big batch, and it's coming out in late February, early March, and it's big. It's a lot of work. 65 cases, however many it's going to be. So a lot of that's going to get loaded up in trucks, sent out to Specs, sent out to Total Wine, sent out to places all across the state to finish stocking up those stores. But then the rest of it I'll keep on hand. And some of it will be diverted into our blackout bourbon. Some of it will be diverted into the regular Boomtown bourbon. And then the next batch after that will be the regular 25 cases in probably May, is the next one. Because it'll be February, March, April, 3 batches. And then May will be the next batch that comes out.
That sounds like an awesome plan.
But I'm trying to get to a more regular schedule so that I'm not like doing nothing for a couple of months, but selling and then, frantically producing a whole shit ton of bourbon and then doing nothing but selling, then doing, going back and forth with these frantic chicken with a head cut off stuff. I would like to get into this pattern of doing, 20 cases in a week, then go sell stuff for 3 weeks, then come back, do 20 cases for a week, and then go back and sell stuff. Because 20 cases in a week is a fairly manageable workload. 25 cases in a week, fairly manageable workload.
Okay. So what is the best way for people not, how do I put this? When they don't have your
people not in
product,
Texas.
they don't have your product in a store in their state, what is the best way they can buy your product through your website?
The best way is to get into a truck, drive down to Texas, buy a couple of bottles, and go home.
Okay. If you go on vacation.
The next best way is to contact me via email. Back to the website, oldhumbledistilling.com. You go contact me. Say, hey, I'd like to get my hands on a bottle. And I'll say, okay, well, here are the stores near you where you can get it. And they'll say, oh, well, I'm in Alaska. And I'll like, shit. Nobody lives in fucking Alaska.
Oh, you can't purchase via your website?
No, it's against the law in the state of Texas. Surprisingly enough, it's against the law in the state of Texas.
I didn't know that.
But there are websites like Mash and Grape. Mash and Grape is one where you can go on to their website and buy it. Drizzly can have it delivered, but you have to be in the market where it's at. But Mash and Grape, and I need to double check and make sure that they actually have our whiskey listed on Mash and Grape, because we have been, and then it came off. Mash and Grape has never actually sold it. We were supposed to get set up during the pandemic, and they were backlogged, and it was just a big cluster. But the next best way after that would be just to contact, go through the website, through the contact page, info@oldhumbledistilling.com. I can go to the store and purchase your whiskey on your behalf. I can do it, and then I can put it in a box and I can send it to you, assuming we have it available at the store or wherever it can be bought. I can buy it for you and send it to you, and we transfer the funds via PayPal
but
for a $10 delivery fee.
I remember you said that on a stream, but I thought because you have a website, I thought people can purchase through your website. That's what I assumed.
No.
That's what I assumed, and then you had to go get it at the.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. The distillery can't do it. But me personally, I can. You can send me funds via PayPal.
So that's the state that makes those laws.
Yeah, the state
and what
makes
do you
all kinds
think?
of dumb laws because you can sell stuff. You can sell wine. Wine can sell and deliver. Winemakers can put it in a box and ship it, but I can't put it in a box.
Is there a reason other than corporate money?
Yeah, corporate money.
No, I mean besides that, is that the only reason?
No, that's it. That's the reason. The distributors have a very strong hold on the 3-tier system.
Okay, Joe, you got to become a lobbyist
and
now
package stores
for your whiskey company. I mean, have you thought?
We're working on
thought to ask your
the state Distillers Association is working on that, working on loosening that up a little bit so that we can ship.
So, what do you want to see happen?
It really would be.
What
nice
would be best for your business? If you could have all
what
your
would be
dreams
best
come
for
true.
the business is if I could put a link on my website and tell people we have whiskey available to sell. You can buy a bottle through the website. We can put it in a box and ship it to you for whatever, an extra $15 shipping fee. I would much rather people come to the distillery and talk, buy a cocktail. I'll give you a sample. I'll show you the place. You have a cocktail. I'll sell you a bottle directly. I'm fine with that. The hassle of boxing stuff up and packaging it up and doing all that shit, it's not part of our primary business line, It's not part of the primary work that we do. So it's I do this stuff over here, and then to send stuff out, I have to go over here and do this.
I understand.
And, buy the supplies and all that stuff. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I'd rather ship a bottle to Georgia than tell that person in Georgia, no, sorry.
But the truth is, you kind of set yourself up for it because you have a YouTube channel. So your presence is not just going to be in your state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is.
And then
that's how it is. And people ask, and I'm like, you know what? I'll do it.
But you prefer you don't prefer it. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I'd much rather people come to the distillery. I'd just much rather the crowd be there and people be there, and I can do a tour, and because it creates a more personal connection.
But
this is kind of that virtual extension.
Get to where you live.
And this is that virtual extension. This is part of the reason I have the YouTube channel, is to have that virtual extension. And separate from the YouTube channel itself, I do have our Teespring site where you can, purchase some merchandise and stuff like that. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have stickers, we have coffee mugs that people can get their hands on. There's the QR code to send people there. The link is also
all right. How does that work? QR code
that goes across the bottom. I mean, it is what it is. It's exactly what it is. You go to the
I don't know how to
creator
use the QR code. What do you do?
Well, you can either use the QR code or the actual link.
So how do I use the QR code?
In the case of the QR code, you're on your phone, so you can't do it. But me, if I'm looking at it from my computer, I can hold up my phone, boop it with the with my camera.
Oh, so you scan it with your phone.
Scans it, and then it sends me straight to the website.
Instead of searching yourself, it does it automatically for you.
Yeah, it's gonna There it is. There's my there's the
I
hoodie,
gotcha.
the hoodie site, and it brings me right to the specific merch that I'm looking for, and then I can go into the menu and look at the other stuff that we have, uh, t-shirts, accessories, mugs, stuff like that.
I gotcha. Yeah, my laptop's still incognito. It's not fixed yet.
And when I eventually I'm gonna in the next like month I'm gonna order some actual samples and actually start pushing the Teespring site a little bit. But I'm not ready to go into full merchandising mode.
One day.
And I also have a company store that has hats and uh, hats and shot glasses, and we've done some stuff that we've put on our website, like a date night box
I
where
remember
it's a
that.
bottle of whiskey, a bottle of whiskey, a drink mixer, a couple of limes, and access to a private concert from Ryan Adam Wells. A cool little setup. You buy the box. I send you the email with the link to the show. You watch the show with your girl or your guy on your big screen, and you just kind of chill and relax and have a couple of drinks. That was the plan. But that was, again, you order the box at the distillery, and you could only buy it locally because the delivery fee was like $5-6, whatever, and I would drive it to your house. But it wasn't being shipped. It wasn't being delivered. It was the distillery was basically bringing you the box. A little bonus service that I would offer people for their date night. And then so there was the merch, there was the whiskey date night box, gift boxes. I've done the gift box where it was a bottle of whiskey, a couple of shot glasses, and something else that I threw in there for the gift box, and that was only available at the distillery. I think we sold like 5 or 6 of those. We sold a dozen or so of the date night boxes, which was pretty cool. And it sent people to the website, and they got to watch Ryan Adam Wells
That's cool.
do his. It was a private show that Ryan Adam Wells recorded specifically for me, specifically for the distillery, specifically for Valentine's Day.
That's what I was
And I
going to
gave
ask
him,
you. Got anything for Valentine's
yeah,
Day?
not this year, no. I gave him like 30. No, I gave him $50 and then 10% of all the sales. So we came out ahead on it, actually.
That's cool.
We made a little bit of money off of that. He made some money, I made some money, everybody made some money.
That's cool, Nick. So you better get your butt over to the distillery to get your product,
Yeah, there
whatever
you
you
go.
want to buy.
In fact, Nick, if you call me anytime this next week, I'm only 15 minutes away from the distillery too. So if you want to hook up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you want to swing by, just give me a holler. I'll meet you there. Sign
That's
your bottle
cool.
for
You can
you.
meet Joe in person. That would be a blast.
Yeah, yeah. And on Friday, I'm going to be there Friday anyway. But if he's not available Friday, I can be available anytime during the week. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean we are what we are. We're a small little distillery and it's a one guy shop, and if I'm available, I'm going to come into the shop. I try to spend most of my time doing whiskey and whiskey related stuff, but there's the rest of the time when I'm like working on other projects and trying to do stuff like this silly YouTube channel, or the projects that I have planned for later this month with the. I was talking about this earlier before you popped on. I'm working on a couple of plans for a couple of projects. A bottle caddy that you put the bottle in it, or it comes with the bottle and 4 shot glasses or 2 shot glasses, depending on which model you want to buy. And then a shot glass caddy, a shot glass display that'll have 2 or 4 shot glasses by itself. So our shot glasses in a little container, so you can put them up on your counter, put them
That's
up on your
cool.
mantelpiece instead of going out and spending money on a decanter, which is mostly a waste of money, but it can look nice. It can be a nice little mantelpiece thing. I've got a decanter on my mantelpiece, but I'd rather have my Boomtown bourbon bottle where the decanter is. It's a really cool decanter. It's one of those round bottles that has the continents and stuff for the globe etched on the bottle, and it has a ship inside the bottle. It looks really cool. It's really neat. And the 2 glasses have the map of the world on the glasses, and it has a cherry stain with felt inserts where the glasses go. It's a really pretty decanter. It's a really nice decanter. It was a gift from my lovely wife for Christmas last year, 2021. A really beautiful set, really gorgeous, and it's a corked decanter, so it's sealed, so the whiskey won't go bad. It won't evaporate. But I'd really rather have my bottle of whiskey there instead of the Globe. I'd rather have my bottle sit in the center of that, and 4 shot glasses or 2 shot glasses, a shot glass on either side. So I need to get a couple of pieces of woodworking equipment at the distillery. I need to get a tabletop, a table saw, and a vertical drill press in order to do these projects correctly. Because I could do it with a drill, but it doesn't look right. There's too much of a risk of it being a non-vertical hole. So yeah, all that stuff will be available in the store. We'll take it with us to farmers markets and trade shows and stuff like that. And we'll also have it available for sale and possibly giveaway here on our channel. So rather than giving away a bottle of whiskey, we'll give away these little projects that I make at the shop.
I think you mean cool, don't you? Not cool.
Yeah, it's either co-op or cool. I assume it's cool.
Yeah, because I'm like, huh?
Any bottling machinery in the future? No plans on any bottling machinery. But the big projects we have coming up are the steam generator installation, the tasting room, office, bathroom, bar installation on that side of the shop. The bottle caddy, the shot glass displays, those cool little things that I'm working on.
You said steam what?
Our steam generator needs to be finally fully and properly installed. It is not currently fully properly installed. But also the biggest project, the next biggest project, the third biggest project of the 3 projects that my 3 big projects is building our fermentation tanks.
Building your what?
Fermentation tank. So right now we're using plastic totes, big 250-gallon plastic totes to ferment in. What I want to do is replace both of those totes with a 200-gallon or a 250-gallon cedar, Western red cedar wood fermentation tank, which would mean building, getting the lumber, cutting the lumber on with the miters, fitting everything in. It's not hard to do. It's not complicated, right? You measure the circumference of the circle. You divide that circumference by the width of your boards. You buy that number of boards. You slap it onto the bottom that you build, and the bottom is a set of boards going this way and a set of boards going this way, so that it becomes watertight down to the bottom. You drill a hole in the bottom of it so that you can put a valve or a pipe fitting to empty it and fill it. It's not complicated.
So you would do it?
It's just involved, and you have to do it right. And we're going to do it in the shop. Probably the hardest thing about it is going to be putting the bracket, the foot down at the bottom of our vertical planks. So you have a vertical plank and you build a little foot down at the bottom so that it could fit over the base. Because your base is here and your plank is here. You just like build that little foot down at the bottom so it fits. And it all has to fit in. It doesn't have to be 100% snug, but it definitely has to fit in seamlessly. And then you fill it with water, and the wood swells and fills up those gaps, and then you have a watertight tank, just like the water tanks on top of buildings in New York City.
Hello, Tara, but I don't know what you're saying.
Tara Smith's Kitchen. She's a local here. She lives down in Huffman.
But do you understand what the person's saying?
She's saying hi. That's all I really know. She's saying
well,
hi.
What language is that?
It's a version of English that's not entirely English. It could be Norwegian.
That's why I was wondering.
But I know what ahoy means. A-H-O-J. And I can fill in the rest of the context.
Okay.
I assume that says, I assume that means hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
because they would be you.
Because in
I
Spanish,
assume Yak is how and Moss is doing.
means more. Oh, it's Czech.
It's Czech, Czechoslovakian, or Czech. But Spanish, machen is make, how to make, do.
No, más means more.
Mas means more, but in Spanish, machen, M-A-C-H-E-N, como se machen, would be what are you making?
Oh, yes, yes.
But this is Germanic, Slavic. Germanic, Slavic. I think Czech is Slavic more than Germanic, but Mas would be I don't know how to pronounce that. I assume it's Maj.
I have no idea anything about the Czech language.
Yakshamaj, I assume, ahoy, Yakshamaj would be something along the lines of, hi, how's everything going? Or
something
how
like that.
And she says you are correct. So you see, there you go. So I mean, I can parse
that's
out
cool. You got somebody here who can speak Czech.
Yeah, and she lives over in Huffman, across the river or across the lake from us.
So you met this person?
I have met her in person. She has been to the distillery. She has purchased a bottle of our Double Oak Rye, and I think she purchased a bottle of our Special Reserve. She needs to come by to the distillery and get one of these bottles, one of our remaining 5 bottles of Boomtown
Unless
Bourbon.
Nick gets them all.
Well, Nick, that's another rule in Texas, a law in Texas. You can only buy 2 per person per
month. Well, wait a minute. 2.
Yep.
So you make whiskey. 2 of each?
I do.
2 of each kind you have?
Nope.
Or 2 total?
2 bottles per person per month. So if I have 5 bottles, it would take you 3 months to buy all 5.
No, I meant different varieties you produce, like Boomtown and your others. But they can only be 2 total?
You can only buy 2 750 milliliters.
Oh, so they can't buy 2 of each. Month. 2 of each of your flavor.
You can't buy 2 of each. You can't buy 2 of each flavor. You can only buy 2 bottles per person.
Can I say something? May I? I don't understand if a state like yours loves capitalism, why they restrict that? Because wouldn't they want you to be selling?
Because they don't love capitalism. They love money.
Because they love what?
And they love money, not capitalism.
No,
money
but that doesn't make sense.
The lobbyists to make these stupid laws happen.
But I'm saying for running a business, that doesn't make sense because the point of running a business is for the capitalist system, which means you want people to buy what they want.
They don't give a shit about the system. They give a shit about the lobbyists giving them money.
So let's say you ignore that. I'm not saying you should. What would happen if they found out?
If they found out what?
That you ignored that law.
Lobbyists were giving
you let
money?
The customers buy more.
I would get fined and probably lose my license to do what I do. There's a lot of gray area and a lot of loopholes. Like, for example, you can show up and say, I'm buying 2 bottles of whiskey for me, 2 bottles of whiskey for my wife. 4 bottles out the door. And then you can show up the next day and say, that was the end of 30 days. This is the beginning of 30 days, and do it again. You can show up and say, I'm buying 2 bottles of whiskey for me, my best friend, my brother, my sister, my dad, my mom, my wife, my uncle.
So in theory,
cousin.
There's no way.
You just got to give me the names. You got to give me the names. The rule is I'm supposed to have a name and a driver's license number.
So you have to document. You actually have to document that they say it?
Yes. I'm supposed to document it, but I basically last time I got audited, I showed them my receipts and I said, here's the people who bought it. Anytime there was more than two bottles bought, there was more than 2 people there. And they were okay, and they checked it off.
Oh, so okay. I'm just curious because.
And that's when I quit. That's when I quit because I did have a clipboard with names and driver's license numbers and everything attached.
Oh.
And when they looked at the receipts, they were like, "Oh, okay, cool," and that was fine. So I quit collecting the names and driver's license numbers. But the reality is, you can write down any 8-digit number, and it looks like a driver's license number. They're not going to check every single one of them.
No, but so. I wouldn't announce that on your channel.
But that's the thing. It's not my job. It's the responsibility isn't on me to make sure that driver's license number and that person match. It's not my responsibility. It's on you, the purchaser. And the auditor kind of comes in and looks at it. They're not gonna look up every name and it's such a dumb rule. It's impossible.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these rules make it seem like they're not business friendly.
No, they're not. They're definitely not small business friendly. But they're intended to establish lanes of commerce in which we have to drive.
Right.
In the same way that there's a white stripe down the middle of the highway, and you stand on one side of it or the other side of it. You do not
I mean,
Tara has a new motorcycle. It looks that looks really cool, or sounds really cool. I want to see your bike. But yeah, those are the rules that we have to deal with. You know, we're not allowed to self-distribute. It used to be we weren't even allowed to have people come into the distillery and buy stuff.
Wait, what?
So before 2013, you couldn't sell directly from the distillery.
Wait a minute. You couldn't sell directly to a distillery. You had to have you had to be like in stores only.
Yep. I could not sell to you. If you showed up at my distillery, I could not sell you a drink or a bottle.
And what was the reason?
I could give you a free sample. I could charge you for a tour and give you a free cocktail, but I could not sell you a drink.
And what was the reason?
Because of fucking laws in Texas.
No, but I mean,
man,
when
I was a kid, the hardware stores weren't allowed to be open on Sundays. I mean, the laws in Texas are archaic.
Oh, you know what? The thing about Sunday, I don't think that's just in Texas. I've heard about that, that some other states do it. My guess is it has something to do with religion because of churches.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't remember
what
states do it, but I've heard that from other states.
I don't know if there are still blue laws. They're called blue laws. I don't know if there's still blue laws on the books, but I do know that when I moved to Texas in 1980, we could not go to hardware stores on Sunday. We had to go to hardware stores on Saturday.
But did you say hardware stores?
If we had a project, if we had a project to do, you had to go Saturday to pick up the stuff. You could not go
unless the hardware store workers just wanted a day off. Because my father was born in 1940, and somewhere in his life he remembers when certain stores or restaurants, they were closed on Sundays. That was more for give the workers time to relax.
Every store was controlled by, or most of the stores were controlled by. Some places had actual laws. Some places it was tradition.
Right.
But here in Texas, Sunday, there were certain categories of stores that were not allowed to operate on Sundays. Hell, liquor stores are still not allowed to be open on Sundays in Texas. You still can't go buy beer or wine or liquor. You can't buy liquor. You can buy beer or wine on Sundays, but you cannot buy liquor in Texas on a Sunday.
Oh, your friend here is saying that.
I see Dustin's in the house. Cheers, Dustin.
And
we still have dry counties.
You still have dry counties.
Yep, we still have dry counties in Texas. Places and dry towns in wet counties, because the town can decide to be a dry county inside of a county that sells alcohol. So Tomball on the northwest side of Houston is a dry town inside of a county that sells alcohol. There used to be a community in Houston called Houston Heights. There's still a community in Houston called the Heights. But it used to be a dry community inside of Houston proper, inside of Harris County proper. And Harris County is a wet county where I live. And Houston City is a wet city. They sell alcohol and booze all over the place. But the Heights was a dry town. And it was, I want to say in the early 2000s that they finally changed that rule, that municipal law. So there you go. And cheers, Top Joe, Dustin. Welcome to the party.
That's, in this day and age, it's bizarre to have a dry area, but hey.
Yeah. It's just weird. I mean, the laws are weird. We have a weird relationship with our sins. Americans and their vices, we have our weird relationship. Everybody, the vast majority, I want to say everybody, the vast majority of Americans watch porn, but nobody talks about it. You don't want to see a naked titty on TV, but you're perfectly fine with seeing blood fly out of the side of somebody's head. We're appalled at sex, but we love war. Violence is fine, but fucking is bad. I don't understand that in general. We have a messed up sense of with our sins and our vices. We are perfectly happy with rage and anger and violence and retribution and vengeance, but absolutely have a problem with love and sex. We don't
Right.
like to admit that we drink. We love to laugh at drunks. We don't like to admit, we have an entire industry that is predicated on talking kids and grown-ups out of smoking, but yet smoking is one of the pillar industries that built our country, or pillar agriculture industries that built our country. We have this just weird relationship, and it's not just smoking, obviously, that got cigarette companies in so much trouble. It was the engineering their tobacco to have higher and higher and higher nicotine levels and dirtier and dirtier and dirtier tar, and then lying about it for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, even after they knew of the dangers and carcinogenic properties. But yeah, we are a weird people when it comes. I mean, if we didn't keep our vices like locked up in a little cabinet, like we wouldn't have such an issue with them. I mean, obviously, you don't want alcoholics out going and drinking. That's a physical condition. That's a problem. But it's like it is with homelessness and drugs. We want to just assume this stuff doesn't exist, but we don't want to do anything to solve the problem. We don't want to do anything to mitigate the effects and make it so that it's nothing. God forbid we have a small apartment communities for homeless people so that they can get the services and medical attention that they need, even if it's on a transient basis, because, oh my God, why would we give a free apartment to a homeless person? So they don't freeze on the streets, so they don't go without their antidepressant medication, so they don't go without their anti-schizophrenia medication, so that, we don't have to spend 5 times, 10 times, 100 times that much money dealing with them in emergency rooms. We have a very complicated relationship with our vices
Right.
in general. As a people, we have a complicated relationship with sin. We think it's a bad thing, but it's a part of life. That's what Saturday nights are made for Sunday confessional.
But it's
Or rather, Sunday confessionals are made for Saturday nights.
oh, hi, Bimbo Barbarella. Hi, Top Shelf Dustin.
Yeah. The majority of counties are at least moist, if not fully dry, in Kentucky. Wow. Yeah, I've heard about that. Like, there's a whole lot of this Baptist belt that goes through the middle of
Mhm.
the southeast
Like,
states.
it's bizarre.
confusing.
Like, we have this play. You were talking about like the hardware store. You couldn't. They were not open, or you cannot
Mhm.
sell. What is it you said on Sundays?
Yeah, no hard liquor on Sundays. Beer and wine at grocery stores is fine, but you can't get hard liquor
Right.
at grocery stores in Texas.
Well, here's a doozy. We have this town in Illinois called Wheaton, Illinois. They're noted to be very Christian. Billy Graham and all of them
Yeah.
are over there. And
Okay.
now this is in 2013. Here we go. Wheaton residents can buy their booze early in the day, thanks to the Wheaton City Council, which gave the go-ahead to allow alcohol sales to begin at 7 a.m. at restaurants and at grocery stores and drugstores, the Chicago Tribune reported.
hmm
The restriction that they're eased had been in place since 1985 that allowed restaurants to begin serving alcohol at noon. Restaurants
Okay.
serving alcohol at noon. That's kind of not good because what if maybe they were thinking like the brunch.
Yeah. Mimosas at brunch.
Because who would want
Man, you
alcohol before noon?
show up to brunch at 10 o'clock.
And on Sundays and at 11 a.m. the rest of the week, a 9 a.m. start time has been in place for grocery stores.
Yeah.
So the proposed changing the law to the start times to 8 a.m. for groceries stores and 10 a.m. for restaurants.
hmm That's how it was in Texas for a long time. Before the pandemic, you could buy beer and wine on weekdays at noon, but on Sundays you had to wait till 2. So God forbid football games starting at 11 o'clock, you need to get beer because you had to wait till 2. You
Right.
weren't going to have beer for your football game.
And for the longest time,
And that was pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, they relaxed
Right.
those rules.
I think um the Christian, what do you call them? The temperance movement, those folks
Yeah.
that they really wanted to live out their Christian values. I think the whole town, people could not have alcohol for the longest time, even in your homes. I think. I'm
Hmm.
not positive the law, but I think that's what I used to hear.
There were places. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we,
Absolutely.
according to that article, it was 1985. I mean, think
Mm.
that. That's not in the 80s. That's a little
Yeah.
bizarre that you couldn't.
Within our
But
lifetimes,
what I'm saying
most
is,
people's
like
lifetimes.
the like caravan days or those sort of times, I can think that might be appropriate to have, where they're more into their faiths and stuff. But in the 80s, it seemed weird.
Yeah. There was a time in American history when people would drink a gallon of booze a month. And that was it, overconsumption, easy access, overconsumption, and bad water.
A gallon of
uh,
booze a month is a
was
lot, is it?
a gallon of booze, the 5 bottles of whiskey a month. That's a lot.
But that
That's a
doesn't
lot of
but that
alcohol.
doesn't necessarily mean it's one person. They could have party maybe.
No, no, no. That was per person on
Oh,
average.
that
That
is
was
too much.
pre-prohibition. A gallon of alcohol a month, pre-prohibition. That was on average in the United States, which
That's too
means
much.
for every person who didn't drink a drop, there was a person who drank 10 gallons a month. I mean, do that math. For every child who didn't drink anything, there was a grown ass adult who drank 10 gallons
That's way
in
too
order to
much.
have a 5 gallon average per month. That is insanity. That's why we had to have prohibition, because it was affecting productivity, it was affecting health, it was affecting marriages, it was affecting
But
all kinds of stuff.
prohibition wasn't all good because then became all the don't
Oh,
don't
no,
you
no, no.
forget all the elixirs and people were making their own
Oh, yeah.
stuff. So that also
Oh,
backfired.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there
There are
were
pros and
bad
cons
things
to
that came with
everything.
prohibition, without question, but prohibition was also absolutely necessary. I need to go run and grab a quick piece of ice. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll hold down.
So, talk about prohibition or whatever.
Okay.
I'll
Hello.
be right back.
Hello, Mike. Nice to see you. What kind of challenge, Dustin? The Perot family? Do you mean Ross Perot? Tara, because I don't really know. Ted Cruz is a lost cause. I found, well, when I was talking about this with Humble, he said that's a lot. Dustin, if you would drink 10 gallons of booze a week, well, you could die of alcohol poisoning. Or you could become so addicted you become an alcoholic. And your liver will hate you. What about, okay, so when you were talking about Ted Cruz and the sex toys, did he really get the laws changed in Texas for that? Or was he just saying some stupid shit at the federal level? Because he's a weirdo. Is Ross Perot still alive? Because I remember Ross Perot in the 90s when he was running for president. And I liked him because he had a good thing to say about the free trade agreements. And I remember him because he was a dude with the big ears.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
You have some interesting comments.
Kind of snuck up on me. Wasn't expecting to need to get some ice, but well, sometimes you need to get some ice. So anyway,
You have very interesting comments after Mike McClune said hello.
I'm checking out. Yeah, 10 gallons of booze a month. I mean, and that's the math. Like if like 60% of the people drank 5 gallons, that means 30% was drinking none, and 20% was drinking none, and 20% was drinking 10 gallons of booze, and not beer, booze, alcohol, like 80 to 100 proof alcohol. Every month.
Do you agree with Nick here?
Maybe it was a year. No, it was a month. It was a month.
Said
10 gallons a month.
10 gallons of beer wouldn't be a problem at all in 1 week. Do you agree with that?
I used to make beer 5 gallons per batch, and 5 gallons of beer is a lot of beer. You're talking 50, not 50. 5 gallons of beer is something like 6 cases.
And
5 cases,
and
6 cases, something like that.
Of beer?
24. That's a lot of beer. 100 beers a month. It's a lot of it. It adds up real quick. It catches up with you. Because you got to wake up. Cheers, Mike. Because you got to wake up and go to work. It catches up to you, man. It does. It catches up to you after. You can drink 4 or 5 a night, but at some point you're just like, Jesus, that's a lot of fucking booze.
Are you kidding me?
A lot of beer.
Are you kidding me, Tara? Wacko Cruz actually got that into law.
I'm catching up to it in a second.
I'll read that.
I should probably go ahead. I should go ahead and throw up the chat overlay.
But read her comment. That's kind of
as
hilarious.
New comments come in, it'll be there. The Perot family still pushes a lot of religious laws in Texas. Yes, they do. And Ted Cruz has got to start going after SOB, sexually oriented businesses, and sex toys. Yes, Ted Cruz is actually on record as a Solicitor General in the state of Texas, arguing against dildos and vibrators, saying that masturbation is not a right in the state of Texas.
I heard that, but I wasn't sure.
That is a true story.
Okay, because I heard something about it. But according to Tara,
and there's no context needed because it is literally what he said.
She said it is not enforced, but before he was federal level, at one time you could own 2. It's weird.
Yeah. 2, there was a limit to the number of vibrators and or dildos you could have in the state of Texas, and pornographic movies had to have the disclaimer on them that they were for educational purposes. True story.
I don't understand them. I don't want to think about the Republicans. They're annoying. They've done a bunch of bad stuff this week. I don't get them.
Oh, they have been a treat this week.
Hey,
oh my God. With the Chinese
resolution.
balloon flying across the country, they have been absolutely comical. It has been so much fun
They
to listen
got
to
a
them just
resolution.
flipping out, double backing over themselves. We're a laughing stock to the world. Of course the Chinese are gonna do it, nothing's gonna happen. And then Joe Biden's like, yeah, we shot the motherfucker down. Like, it took you long enough to shoot it down.
Did you hear what they did in Congress? In the House? They had a resolution to denounce socialism.
Oh, denounce social. Yeah, I saw that too.
But not all Democrats went along.
Fire departments would like to have a word. Fire departments and police departments would like to have
and
a
then
word.
They killed off, and then they said, bye-bye, Ilhan Omar. You can't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. And the Democrats were like, what about your own people? What about all these things they say that's anti-Semitic?
Oh, there will be a uppance that comes.
The Democrats.
Matt Gaetz even came out publicly and said, "I'm not sure this is a good idea because they could do it to me."
Wait, who said that?
Like, yeah, Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz is a
atomic forehead.
Matt Gaetz has got to go.
He is. He might be indicted. I mean, we've been saying that for 3 years now, but he still might get indicted.
Look,
he's not out of the woods.
The problem with Matt Gaetz is he wants to act all morally superior, but he's alleged to be a pedo, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And then there's Jim Jordan, who had the problems at some college in
back turning Jim. He turned his back during some kind of pedophilia.
There was some kind of
molestation scandal,
harassment, sex. I don't know. He was a wrestling coach, I think. Yeah, but,
Yeah,
but my point
he was a
is,
wrestling
they're
coach,
trying to
assistant
act
wrestling coach.
morally superior, but the problem is they're the problem. And so the Democrats really gave it to them over Ilhan Omar. And basically
Yeah.
they said, this isn't about anti-Semitism. This is about her being a woman of color. And you don't want her voice on the committee because she's a refugee. And because she'll probably remind you that war has consequences and stuff like that. And Eric
Something, glass houses,
and Eric
blah, blah, blah.
Swalwell, he got upset because he's like that tweet, the one about Kanye, where they had the three names. I don't remember.
I don't pay any attention to that
But
shit.
anyways, I was
don't
glad
remember.
to see them fight really hard. So I'm thinking, if they can do that for a person, why don't they do that for our needs? You know, like if you want Medicare for all or all this. So now there's no excuse for the Democrats to say they can't fight hard for what they want.
I look forward to the day when we actually have two parties that give a shit. but
Actually,
we
you
don't
know,
right now, so.
a lot of people think we should be like more parliamentary system, not in the sense that we actually do parliamentary, but the idea of having multiple parties. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because then when you have too many choices, then it's hard to decide. But two parties is not
It
enough.
won't have as long as we have an artificial cap on the number of representatives. We're never going to
Right.
have.
Anyways,
There's too much.
let's go back to chat
enough
here.
people.
Okay, let's see.
5 bottles a month of booze would be below average if it's 1920, 1914. These days, it's closer to 2. The average consumption per person is, I think, 2 bottles per month.
Okay. According to Top Shelf Dustin, he says 10 gallons of beer would be 106.7 beers. That about right? I don't know how to calculate the math.
106. So, yeah, that's 4 cases. 10 gallons would be 4 cases.
Okay.
106.7. Well, 4.5. 4.5. So let's call it 5.
Okay.
And that's what. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like, no, I was 5. It was 50. Yeah, that's what it was. It was 58 bottles of beer. That's what it was. It was 58 bottles. It's been so long since I've made homebrewed beer. My math was wrong. My apologies. Okay. 5 gallons of beer is like 58 bottles. 10 gallons would be, like he said, like 106, something like that. Says, and drinking 2 bottles of beer a day, every day for a month is fine, but you don't drink 2 bottles of beer every day for a month. You drink none a couple of times, and then you drink 4, and then you drink 1, and then you drink 6, and then you drink 2, and then you drink none, and then you drink none, and then you drink 12, and then so it's the steady, you know, it's just like taking shots of beer. You know, you take a shot of beer every minute for an hour, right? That comes out to 90 ounces. 90 ounces divided by 12 is what? 8 beers? 8 beers in an hour? It adds up. You know, 90, if you're talking 90-ish ounces, it adds up. And the first couple are easy. It's a minute, boom, a minute, boom, a minute, boom. That's known as the power hour. It's a dumb drink. But then after like the first 15 minutes or so, you're like, yeah. And those minutes start to pile up and get right on top of each other, and you're like double fisting it after the first 30 minutes. You're starting to double fist it because you got to start catching up, and it's
but according to Dustin here, he says, okay, over a month, that's 3.5 a night.
Yeah.
So if people were going to do this challenge
of beer,
right? If people were going to do this, okay, hypothetically speaking, I think they would probably do it that way. How many beers can they handle in a time? Because otherwise,
that's just the thing.
Because otherwise, in your scenario, they would have to overdrink on some nights.
And you would, because there's going to be some nights you just don't have any. You don't feel like it, because there's a cumulative effect.
Yeah, you have a point.
If you do it every night, there's a cumulative effect. You stay up later. You don't get as much sleep. The effect of alcohol on the body is known. You don't get as much sleep when you drink alcohol, because your body first metabolizes the alcohol and then you go to sleep. You may pass out,
That's not what happened
No,
to
no,
me.
no, no, no,
I
no,
went to
no. You
sleep.
may pass out even when you fall asleep. You're not sleeping restfully. Your body's metabolizing the alcohol out, so your body's still working. You may be mentally and physically out cold, but your body's still working, so you're not resting.
So what you're saying is
You don't
you're probably not in REM sleep, REM,
exactly, exactly,
and then
exactly.
REM
Now
means deep sleep. Is that what that means?
Let's say you have a six pack of beer in 2 hours and you pass out. Your body metabolizes on average one bottle of beer or 1 12-ounce beer per hour. Okay. So let's say 10 o'clock, you fall asleep. You've had a 6 pack of beer. You fall asleep at 10 o'clock. You wake up at 8 a.m. So you go from 10 p.m., that's 2 hours, then to 8 a.m., that's 10 hours of sleep. But over the course of those 10 hours, you've metabolized out 4 bottles of beer because the first two hours you drank 2, you metabolized 2. So the next 4 hours, you metabolized 4 bottles of beer. So out of those 10 hours of sleep, you really only got 6.
Okay, but
But you're not waking up at 8 o'clock, you're waking up at 6 o'clock. So knock off 2 more hours because you got to get up for work, or maybe 5 o'clock because you got to get up for work. And that lack of sleep accumulates day after day after day after day until finally you feel like shit and you're just like, I
dude,
don't want
how
to
can
drink.
I not? Oh, I can't see your face.
You can't see my face.
Because
That's
on the
probably good.
Restream, no, in Restream Studio, it says live, and then the time, and your face is covered up by the time.
Yeah, a gallon a week would be excessive consumption.
That's weird.
I would argue that, Mike. I would absolutely argue that.
Can you move your little live button where it says live and the time?
No,
Because you're all covered up.
I can't move that.
Just so you're aware. When I see you in studio,
I'm covered up on your phone, but I'm not covered up on my.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
On
I
YouTube, I'm not covered
Yeah,
up.
it's kind of weird. I can't see your face.
I can do that.
Yeah, that's better. Because it's kind of weird.
Where are we at? But it does sound like it would be a cool challenge to drink 5 gallons of booze. So
I'll be right back.
5 gallons, a gallon of alcohol would be 5 bottles of. A gallon of alcohol would be 5 bottles of 750 milliliter alcohol. That would be a gallon of alcohol in a month. That would take a month of recording and editing. A vlog, maybe we do a vlog, or we do a bottle a week. See, my when I'm doing these shows, I usually go through a bottle every 2 to 3 weeks. I cracked this bottle open at the beginning of February. No, yeah, I guess I did. It's been about a week, and this bottle is kind of almost gone. But I've done several shows with this bottle, so it doesn't count. I probably go through 2 bottles a month, probably. So doing 4 or 5 bottles a month is a lot. It's a lot. And then the health problems that knock on with it, with the swollen liver and just the swelling in general and the inflammation of the soft tissues. The lack of sleep. I mean, there's so many knock-on effects that come with consumption of with excessive consumption of alcohol. Which is with moderate consumption, those problems don't come because your body can handle it, metabolize it, ship it out. But when you're drinking excessively, you've got problems. The problems start to compound and stack on each other because you're not flushing the stuff out of your system. There's remnants of the toxins that stay in your liver. There's remnants of the toxins that stay in your colon, in your small intestine, your large intestine. There's the lack of sleep, the brain fog, the decision making, all the stuff that comes on with it that just compound day after day after day after day after day after day after day, to the point where people are just like, I don't want to have anything to drink tonight. I just don't want to. And that's what happens. I mean, that's the difference between responsible drinking, excessive drinking, and just plain old alcoholism. People with alcoholism, they can't control that. They're just like, whatever, I'm going to fucking make everything numb. And they can't stop. But yeah, maybe doing a 12 a month long challenge, a pre-prohibition alcohol consumption challenge, putting my body on the line for the people. 5 bottles of whiskey.
You don't get REM sleep. That's what people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you don't get REM sleep, you start to go crazy.
When I wake up, I'm like, where am I? And I don't realize that I was sleeping. Like it's very bizarre. I don't get proper sleep because I don't sleep in my bed. That's why.
See, 106 beers would be like you said, 3.5 beers a month or a day, and the 3.5 beers a day, like that's not enough to be drunk, but it's enough to knock 3 hours of sleep off of your night. So if you drink 3 beers before you go to bed, 4 beers once a week, 3 beers the other 3 nights, you go to bed at midnight, 11 o'clock. You don't actually start sleeping until 2 a.m. until after 2 a.m. So 11, 12, 1, all the way up to 2, you don't start sleeping. Your body doesn't start resting until you metabolize that last beer at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then you sleep from 2 to 5, and 3 hours is not enough sleep for the normal person. 4 hours is not enough sleep for a normal person, even if you wake up at 6. It's not enough time.
I can't really drink because I have diabetes.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Diabetes and other health effects, heart disease, lung, all the stuff that people have when they tend to get older, but also the diseases that we have thanks to modern diet and lifestyle are incompatible with excessive drinking. But you were talking 1914 America, when you had people going into factories, this was a clash of lifestyle, right? So this was a time period where we're industrializing, we're sending people to factories from farms, we're sending people to cities from rural areas, and it used to not be a big damn deal. You're in the rural area, you didn't have booze available to you all the time, right? And you move from the farm to the city. Now all of a sudden there's just bars up and down the street from your house, just up and down the street. And you move to the city specifically so that you work in a factory. And this is just the generic lifestyle change. But you go from the farm when you didn't have access to alcohol all the time. You're waking up at 5 o'clock, waking up with the sun, going to work in the fields and working all damn day long. And you come back home and you have your glass of whiskey from the barrel that was in the garden. You're exhausted. You fall asleep. Your body's been working all day long, burning all those calories. It's not that big of a deal because your furnace is running hot. You can throw all kinds of garbage into the furnace and it just burns up. But once you move into the city, well, now it's not just one drink. It's bars that are offering lunchtime specials. The water quality is garbage. It's the lunchtime specials. It's the morning shot of whiskey to warm you up on the way to the factory. The lunchtime shot, the shot on your way home, another shot on the way home, the next bar, the next shot at the bar down from there. You're having 5 or 6 shots on your way home from the factory. And then you show up the next day, you're hungover, you're worn down, you haven't slept enough. It was an entire clash of civilizations from pre-industrialized America to industrialized America leading up to Prohibition. And Prohibition, for all of the problems that Prohibition created with the gangland shootings and mass crime and all that other shit, where like people were just like, we're going to do whatever we want, whether the fucking laws say or not. It broke, bye sunflowers. It broke that habit. It broke that consumption pattern, and it broke that attitude of excessive consumption of alcohol. And then when it came back, there was the 3-tier regulation and the regulated process of providing alcohol to people. And it really did change the culture around consumption of alcohol in the United States for a considerable amount of time. And we're still living under the effects of that. We're still living under the effects of that change of culture and the change of the industry and the change of pattern of distribution and production in the United States. We're still living under the effects of prohibition and the end of prohibition to this day, and it's been 100 years. So for all the ills that it had, you can talk about how it didn't work and all that stuff. It didn't work in stopping people from drinking, but it absolutely did work in changing the culture around drinking and how people consumed and how people produced and how people distributed.
Same thing with our drug laws.
Well, yeah, and I firmly believe the point of prohibition wasn't to stop people from drinking, but to stop the way people drank and the way the industry operated.
I don't know, because
and it did. It changed that. I mean, they may have thought about like the actual, like the teetotalers wanted people to never drink again, and the very, very pleasant women with the hatchets in their hand were just charming women. I'm sure they were fun at parties, and they were just absolutely a joy to be around and to talk with. But from a policy point of view, I really don't think the government was like, yeah, we're going to stop people.
Well, I don't know,
we're
because
holy country.
all I remember learning about that was Al Capone came to Chicago, and prohibition caused people to make liquor the wrong way, your alcohol, your booze, and more people were getting sick.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
In some cases, yeah.
You probably know more about this because you're in the business, but I never really looked into it that much.
I mean, it did reduce consumption of alcohol, but it also changed the patterns of consumption, because the people who stopped drinking were the poor people who went to bars and worked in factories. The people who kept drinking were the upper middle class and rich people who could have their speakeasies and parties and house parties and private parties and all that other shit. Those are the people who kept drinking. The people who stopped drinking were the normal plebes who just had to wake up and go work in factories. But it definitely affected the way people consumed and the way they took it in, and the way it was distributed and the way it was made and all that other shit. It went from being freely available at pretty much every store down the street to having to go be secret. I mean, where would you go to buy cocaine today?
I have no idea.
Like, legit question. Do you even know how to buy cocaine?
No, I don't do that, so I have no idea.
Like, yeah, I know. We say commonly, like, the war on drugs is a failure. It's bullshit. It doesn't work. Like, where would you go get heroin? Where would you go get meth? I mean, we have in our head this idea of where, and notice I did say marijuana. We have in our head this idea that, like, you could just go down to so-and-so and get some meth. It's not as easy as you think. It's harder than you think to get meth. It's harder than you think to get heroin. It's harder than you think to get cocaine. I mean, I can get marijuana like that. You go to any fucking bar in Houston and ask a bartender, and you can get. You don't have to go to Colorado.
Bill Maher. I tweet out to Bill Maher. Bill Maher said on his show that he used to be a drug dealer. Probably pot. I don't know if he did.
Pretty much everybody. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he had cocaine, and his friends bought cocaine.
I don't actually remember.
But I guarantee you, like, people are like, oh, if you're gonna go to Colorado, pick me up some blah blah blah. Like, you don't need to have a friend go to fucking Colorado for you. You just need to talk to Dennis at the fucking bar down the street, because I guarantee your bar has a Dennis or a Dwayne or a Mark or a John, and you just go like, hey, do you know where I can get some weed from? And they're gonna be like, that guy. And you go with a beer, and you sit down at the table, a beer for you and a beer for him, and say, hey, what do you got? How much? I got $20. What can I get for $20? That's how you get weed in Texas. It's not hard. It is not hard to do. If you're going to your church, it's probably gonna be a little bit harder to get weed. But I guarantee you go hang out at the old folks' home. You go hang out at the old folks' home, and within the hour, you'll be able to score some weed. Within the hour. All you got to, even less time if you volunteer and you talk to the old folks, because they've got weed for their chronic pain or their cataracts or their arthritis or whatever they got. Guarantee everybody in that old folks home knows who's carrying. Every single person knows who has some weed. And you can talk to that person, and they'll put you in contact with their dealer. You make a phone call, you got weed by the end of the morning, before lunch, without question. Now, meth, coke, crack, amphetamines, barbiturates, all that shit. Like normal people, we don't know those fucking people. I mean, Dustin works in the financial industry. He knows all the cokeheads he needs to meet. But like normal people, like prohibition on drugs has made it hard to get drugs. We don't know where to go to get drugs. You got to go to a part of town that you don't feel comfortable in. It's not that easy. It's much harder. Now, steroids, yeah, you go to the gym, it's easier, but still. They're not going to sell. They're not necessarily going to sell to people they don't know. I mean, prohibition has the desired effect. It makes it hard to get drugs. All these people that are like, oh, it's easy to get drugs. They've never bought drugs. They've never bought drugs. If you've ever bought drugs, you know that it's a nerve-wracking experience, unless it's weed in a bar and they're cool and you're cool. So I hear from a friend, from other people who have told me these things. Obviously, I have, because I'm an upstanding citizen and a pillar of my community, being the sin merchant that I am. You see, this is just the thing. What Dustin says: in your 20s, you can do this shit. You're a lot more resilient in your 20s. You can do 6 beers a night in your 20s. That's easy in your 20s. It's a lot harder to do in your 30s, and it's much harder to do in your 50s. Much harder. It gets harder. The older you get, the harder it gets. But as that metabolism slows down, but if you keep the engine burning hot, you can throw all kinds of shit in your engine. So where's the weirdest place you've gone to buy meth, Sunflowers?
I haven't. However, I do know where you could get heroin in Illinois.
Oh, where at? What's the address? What's the phone number? Who do we call? I'll post it in chat.
Here's how this goes.
So anybody wants heroin, they can get some heroin.
Sometimes we have the police come to the library for staff and service day, and they tell us about what's going on. Like, we learned one time how if a shooter's going to come into your building, what to do. One time they talked about how we have a heroin epidemic in the state of Illinois, and we have what is called Chicago's heroin highway, and that is the Eisenhower Expressway has become one of the most prevalent areas for travel when it comes to distribution and obtaining heroin, earning the moniker the heroin highway. So what they do is they use the highway, so it's the Eisenhower Expressway, to transport the substances into Chicago. And then they distribute to local communities throughout the Midwest.
Okay.
See, we don't.
So that's how you get your heroin, because it comes to a shop in Chicago and gets distributed throughout the Midwest.
But the
Chicago's
thing
like
is,
a distribution point.
When you see on TV all the like drugs and stuff, we don't really see a lot of it because it happens either at night on the highway, or I just don't really see a lot of like drug dealer dealings like where I live. So that's good, but that also means you could be immune to it and you think it won't happen.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised when I heard about it, but I wasn't surprised because drugs are still a thing. And some of it has to do with gangs. So in the past in Illinois, you were talking about certain drugs. Depending on what year, there's been reports that they put out task forces and stuff, and certain gangs control the flow of certain drugs. So I would guess, all kidding aside, if you knew someone in a gang, they probably can get you what you want. I'm just saying.
But
I'm talking about the hard stuff,
the
not me.
average person in America, the average person, do you know someone in a gang? You might. I mean, granted, I live in fucking, lily white suburban Humble. Like, do I know people in gangs? No, not anymore. I might have known people in gangs back when I was in high school and
But
college,
if you
and
live in a
maybe the first few
city,
years out of college. But when I started working at the nonprofit and the banks, and I didn't know anybody in gangs.
right? But if you're
You
out
weren't
and
allowed to
about
hang
at
out with those
night,
people and keep your job.
but if you're out and about at night and you're in Chicago, you might run into some because you might have seen them. Because, for example,
You may run into them, but is that part of the topic of conversation? Like, so what gang are you
oh
in?
no.
Do you have
No,
drugs?
but how you could do it is what I was going to say was because you know how Chicago has a lot of violence, and that violence always makes the news, and a lot of times it's gang related. So you could track them down because you would hear their name on the news.
Sure.
So you could technically
If you
do
were
it if you don't know
motivated,
them, is my point. But I would never make the
if you were
habit.
motivated to find it, if you were motivated to find it in the same way as
Right.
you want to find a Gucci bag or a pair of Louis Vuitton, whatever, if you wanted to find a thing, you could find it
And I bet you,
without question. You have to be motivated to find it. But it's not like there's shops up and down the street like there was in 1912 of just booze and more
but
booze and
one
more
thing that's
booze and
one
more
thing
booze and more
though,
booze and more booze. This isn't
right.
brothels in Amsterdam.
But one thing though, you got to be careful with gang life. They don't like snitches. So
Sure.
sometimes if you tell, it could possibly get you to the person that's going to rat you out without you realizing. So you got to be careful.
Right.
I would never do
Yeah,
it.
you wouldn't just
I
sell to
honest to God would
anybody.
never. That's
Like,
why I never want to do those kind of drugs because I want nothing to do with gang life.
well, and see, for most of us, we're living in our comfortable suburban lives. We're not like, well, I want to go have some cocaine.
You know, that's not
Like,
true.
you're not,
Because
and even if you did say, I want to have some cocaine, you're anxious and nervous about talking to the people who would sell you cocaine.
I'm not sure because do you know the YouTube channel Secular Talk with Kyle Klinsky?
Secular talk. I don't know it. No.
Oh, he commentates. He's in New York, and he's getting engaged to Crystal Ball from Rising, the one that hangs out with Sagar. Anyways, he did stories before where a lot of Americans do these drugs, but they do microdosing. So I'm
Sure,
almost
yeah.
positive you'd probably get your drugs in the suburbs from someone you know at work. Because a lot of people come to
Probably, yeah.
work, they use it to function, it helps them.
And that's probably how most people come in contact with it.
I'm just assuming.
You're like, I just need something to pick me up. And they're like, well, I got some meth. Or I got something to pick you up. You want to try this? And you're like, yeah, I need
I'm
something.
just guessing.
I'm
But
worn
I
out from this
think
weekend.
so, all kidding
It's been
aside,
3 days and I'm dead.
all kidding aside, I think this is just again, I have no drug dealer. I never done marijuana. But if we're on this topic, I bet you most anybody who does marijuana, if they knew that their drug dealer could handle another client, they'd probably tell you who it is for marijuana because the stigma is gone.
That would be an interesting
I'm just guessing, as opposed to like our
thing to explore.
Because even if in some places it's still illegal, because it's legal elsewhere, people would take more of a risk, as opposed to
the suburbs is where all the good stuff is anyway.
except for Molly, ecstasy, all the other stuff that has a bad stigma, and you can potentially get to be very deadly.
Shit, if you want to find Molly and X, that's easy. You just go to a fucking club and you can get Molly and X in a heartbeat.
But you have to be
Like
careful because I want to say my state, and I think Minnesota, in the past, there has been synthetic
Oh.
Ecstasy.
Now we're talking about esoteric
No,
shit. See, this is the stuff that they tell you in the suburbs to make you not want to try this.
No. There have been news.
Well, you got to worry about the
that.
synthetic marijuana. That's going to make you go crazy.
No.
Yeah.
This is the legit thing because people in my state have died.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And the fake stuff is laced with stuff that is not supposed to be in there. Therefore, that's why they die more.
Right. That's what they say. I think that's a myth. I wouldn't know, but I think it is. I think it would be a fun social experiment to do to see how hard it is to score coke, pot, meth, and acid. Because I remember when I was in college, it was easy to get acid. Everybody had acid. I kid you not.
Is that the thing you put on your tongue?
It was just a thing they did. But yeah, it's like a little stamp.
Is that what it is?
But
it's a little stamp?
Acid, mushrooms, weed, not the club drugs. I don't care about Molly and X. But how hard would it be? We're in Houston, fucking Texas. How hard would it be for me to get coke in Houston, Texas?
Well, wait a minute.
It's Houston, Texas.
Wait a minute, hold on.
We're in a major trafficking hub. How hard would it be?
Hold on.
I wonder.
Let's take you up on your offer. You're the state that is living in that the Republicans are in charge of. And a lot of the Republicans, okay, like even if they go to the federal government, but they're still Texans, they want you to believe in theory they're all gung-ho for law enforcement and cracking down, like a Ted Cruz type.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think on the surface, you would have very strict laws against those things. But
there's strict laws in Texas. You go to ash pounding jail if you get caught with coke.
But I do not know if the enforcement would be there because people have come out and pointed out that in the United States, you know how the crack powder cocaine and all the drug war disparities and more black people go to jail for that. But people have pointed out the all honesty truth about the American drug war is that more white people do drugs at a higher rate than black people. It's just we don't tell the truth.
It depends on the drug. It depends on the drug, but in general, white people and black people do drugs at the same rate. It depends on the drug, like with marijuana.
Not necessarily.
Coke,
not necessarily.
With cocaine, with cocaine, it's more white people than black people. But with crack, it was more black people than white people. With marijuana, it's about even. But
I wasn't talking about marijuana. I meant all the other. Actively policed. I meant all the other drugs. Some statistics have pointed out that white people do them more. Some point out what you say. So
meth is a white person drug. Heroin's a white guy drug.
My point is, okay.
Yeah.
Was it Michael Eric Dyson? I can't remember. But one of the black professor types was on TV and says he won't name the college, but you'll be surprised that at this college, most of the people who did drugs were white, because everyone thinks it's more black people because of the war on drugs jails the black people. So until we tell the truth, who knows?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff in American culture that we are not honest about, including porn, alcohol, policing.
Did you say porn?
Yeah.
Did you know?
Alcohol, policing. Drugs.
Can I give you a little statistic?
We're not honest about our guns. We're not honest about our racism. We're not honest about all kinds of shit. We're so dishonest.
Can I give you a little statistic? You said porn.
Oh, yeah.
I once saw, I don't know where this was. I don't really watch MSNBC very often, so I can't recall if it was there or if I saw this online at a reputable news source. That the place where people watch porn the most is in the Bible Belt, and it's gay porn. Which is surprising. Because they want you to believe they're not like that.
Oh, yeah. They absolutely don't. And that is... I mean, you know, you can't necessarily go talk about necessarily identify closeted tendencies by their porn preference, but there's a whole lot of fetishized
Wait a minute, hold on.
fetishized stuff that you can't talk about, that they just don't talk about.
Cocktail Dustin, sometimes that is true, but when people have an addiction, they'll find it any which way they can.
Yeah, they find it.
So I have a question. Wait a minute. Nick says sunflower sounds like she does. Cough, cough. Sounds like I do what?
Yeah,
Doug?
sunflower doesn't smoke any pot. Smoke pot is what he's referring to.
Oh no, I've never
He asked me if I smoke pot, and I said, good and goddamn well I can't answer that question honestly, publicly.
Oh, but no, I honestly have never tried. But I would like to, because I think it would help my medical conditions.
And see, and that's the thing. Lines of coke, cocaine to this day strikes me as a wealthy person's drug. It's not something you're doing if you're not making at least average income, probably above average income, upper middle class
heard,
income. You're not poor and doing coke. You're poor, you're doing crack or weed. You're not doing coke.
Speaking of what you said,
but that's a culture.
I have heard. Maybe this is when Kyle did the stories under drug usage, but it has been rumored, especially the Wall Street guys. Well, they could be girls. I mean, women. But the Wall Street and your financial folks, they might be the ones that do cocaine a lot.
No, a disproportionate amount. Yeah. No doubt. This has turned into a fun little chat.
You know what? I'm gonna look up some stuff here.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will do an honest to God like series, a vlog series about whether or not I can score some weed and then step it up to the next level. Maybe how can I score some meth and then step it up to the next level? Can I score some coke? What should I go score next? People put in chat. See what I can score next. We could do a whole we could do a whole series, a whole sin series of where can I get what kind of drug can I get this week?
Wait a minute. You're gonna have to put opioids on the mix, because opioids are very popular.
Like, how hard is it to get Vicodin?
Well, wait a minute. Now, when you say these things, are you talking about prescription, or like, for example, because it might be in you?
Oh no, for abuse.
No. In your case, in Texas,
like the series, theoretical series.
Can you get marijuana for medical use?
No, I'm talking about how hard would it be to illicitly buy?
Oh, illicitly, okay. But no, I'm just curious. Can you for medical?
Because it's presumably pretty easy. I'm in pain. I need a prescription. Okay, here you go. It's pretty easy to get Vicodin or some kind of painkiller.
But however, some of the states, when they legalized it for medicine, marijuana, you could only get it for certain conditions.
Whether it's legal for whatever conditions or not, you just walk down to your fucking bar and talk to Derek. He still has weed.
Mike has a point. It's the same like it was in the 80s. Coke is in the suburb and crack is in the inner cities. Now,
talk to anyone in a restaurant, food service industry, guarantee you can get a hold of whatever you want.
Oh, so if you want meth,
guarantee it.
Okay, so if you want meth, you're probably going to have to go to West Virginia, because West Virginia is very rural.
I go to Cleveland, Texas. I go to Huffman, Texas. I go where Tara lives, right across the lake from here. I guarantee I can get some. I can score some meth within an hour of my house.
Here's what's fun about what Dustin said.
This would be a fun series.
I pointed out, because I was listening to Kyle Kulinski, I'm almost certain this is where I heard it, that the financial world uses coke. But Dustin also points out law also does use coke. So if the law people are doing drugs, they should not be busting ordinary citizens for doing the same thing.
Oh, you act like their job is to uphold the law. You crazy.
Do you agree with this?
You crazy. That ain't their job.
I want to know if you agree with Dustin here. He says alcohol consumption skews higher with incomes over 75K. Bit dated, so maybe 85K today. Dustin, where did you come up with this? This is the first I've heard of it.
Alcohol consumption absolutely skews up with all drug consumption skews up with income. Absolutely.
But wait a minute.
There are certain drugs that are low income drugs, but all drug consumption skews up.
Well, he's talking about alcohol.
You have more disposable income. If you have more disposable income, you tend to do more drugs. Even if those drugs are legal prescription drugs or legal drugs like alcohol and tobacco, you tend to do more drugs the more money you make.
Now, wait a minute.
Without question. Absolutely.
I would think here with alcohol consumption skews higher with incomes over 75K. I would make the argument that it's probably the quality that gets higher.
Nope. Quantity. Maybe both.
Because I know people who
it is absolutely 100%
middle class
correlation.
that drink alcohol, have alcohol at home.
No, there's a 100% correlation. 100% correlation. The higher your income skews, the higher the drug consumption skews, and that is across all categories of drugs. All categories of drugs.
No, I'm talking just about alcohol here.
Even alcohol, it without question, it is 100% true.
Because Dustin made the point about alcohol.
I mean, just look at me. I'm a business guy. Who the fuck am I going to try and sell my $60 bottle of alcohol to? The guy that makes $15,000 a year, or the guy that makes $150,000 a year? My market is not poor people. I want to sell 6 bottles to somebody. I'm not going to sell 6 bottles to somebody who is barely making it through. I'm going to sell to somebody who has disposable income. I'm selling to people with more income.
Mike?
Intentionally targeting those people. And if you're a drug dealer of any sort, whether it's alcohol, Vicodin, opioids of any stripe, illicit cocaine or meth or whatever, you're not targeting poor people. You're targeting people with money.
I want to point out
across all categories consume more of everything, including alcohol.
But sometimes, though, when I see like documentaries of people who are addicted to drugs, they don't seem to be the rich.
Oh yeah, they don't focus on those guys.
So I never thought about it in theory, except for the finance and coke.
Yeah.
Now, Mike makes the interesting.
I mean, that's why it's so insane when people are like, "We need to drug test people on welfare." People on welfare can't afford drugs. They can't fucking afford drugs.
But I want to point out, though,
more money.
I want to point out something,
You spend more money drug testing poor people than you do in recovering funds from denying.
But can I point out, when we go, remember I mentioned opioids, add opioids to the mix? When you find out, a lot of the opioid problem is happening in rural America, and a lot of rural America is not your rich folks.
Yep.
So sometimes, if you just get addicted to the drug, income be damned.
Yeah.
So it's not always 100% what you're saying, but more or less you are not wrong.
If you are poor and you start doing drugs, you will stay poor. But if you avoid drugs and you become rich and you start doing drugs, you can potentially stay rich, but you might become poor. You might lose everything if you become addicted and everything. You know, it's the commercial from the 80s was I work to make money to buy cocaine so that I can work to make money to buy cocaine so that I can work to make money to buy cocaine. And then it's not recreational to that point. You fall into the cycle.
Absolutely.
But the people who can afford recreational drugs or people who have disposable income that they can pay for recreational drugs.
Again, sometimes it doesn't matter.
That's it. But the abuse, the line for abuse. I mean, meth is a popular drug among poor people because it's so fucking cheap to make it. It's cheap to make it. It's cheap to buy it. It's cheap as shit. That's why it's so popular among poor people in rural America. You get some Sudafed and some precursors, and shake it. You can literally make it in Ozarka bottles.
Right. Now, again, more or less what you're saying is correct, but I want to point out, in Chicago, we used to have a housing complex called Cabrini Green.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very familiar with that, the whole story.
And there was documentaries about it. In Illinois, I could see on cable TV this show called Gangland. I don't remember what channel it was on. And twice we had a special about Illinois. But those people were poor, but there was a lot of drugs that came out of there. So that's why I'm saying it's not all that poor people don't do it. It's sometimes they're...
Oh, no. Poor people do it. And it's rife among poor people because it takes the edge off. But
they just don't spend as much
as the rich problem. People. The wealthy and middle class is a bigger market for drugs and alcohol and vices of all sorts.
Well, yeah.
Than among the poor people. Then among the poor is a larger market. The poor's is a larger market in general. But where you can afford to sell, like, who are you going to sell a car to? Like, all of the products in America get sold to the people with money, not the poor people. I mean, it's not like they get $50. They're spending $50, 45 on drugs and $5 on rent. They're spending it's the other direction. They're spending 45 on rent and 5 on drugs, and they get a couple of joints and they're good. That's they spend far less of their money. They don't have disposable money to spend on that shit, and they may not be spending on rent. They may be rooming up with 5 or 6 or 8 other people, but they're not. That's just not where the market is. That's not who's buying the booze. That's not who's buying the drugs. That's not who's buying the whores. That's not who's buying all the stuff that feeds the industry. The cocaine problem isn't going to poor central inner cities. The cocaine problem is going to the suburbs and the wealthy exclaves of people who can afford the cocaine. If cocaine even is a thing anymore, I don't even know if it's a fucking thing. I mean, that was the drug in the 80s. I don't know if it's even a drug anymore. Does anybody do cocaine anymore? Let me ask Siri. Hey, Siri, does anybody even do cocaine anymore? Let's see. What is the scope of cocaine use in the United States? In May 6, 2016, among people aged 12 or older, holy shit, 12? In 2021, this was written in 2016? It couldn't have been 2016. Anyway, 1.7%, or about 4.8 million people, reported using cocaine in the past 12 months. How many young students use cocaine? In 2022, an estimated 0.5% of 8th graders and 0.3% of 10th graders and 1.5% of 12th graders reported using cocaine in the past 12 months. Wow. 1%. Hardly any. I mean, that's a big number, more than I expected. But how many people have a cocaine use disorder? Among people aged 12 or older in 2021, 0.5%, or about 1.4 million people, had a cocaine use disorder in the past 12 months. How many people die from cocaine overdoses? In 2020, 19,447 people died from an overdose involving cocaine. The COVID-19 pandemic had an impact on data collection in the 2021 National Survey of Drug Use.
All right, wait a minute. Here we go. It says here, welcome to the United Nations. COVID pandemic fueled major increase in drug use worldwide. June 24, 2021. Around 275 million people used drugs worldwide in the last year of unprecedented upheaval caused by COVID-19, up by 22% from 2010.
Yep. I know a lot of people that started smoking pot during the pandemic.
But you know, if people are
They're
going
like, I got to take the
to,
edge
if
off
this
somehow.
report also categorizes marijuana into the mix, I would say put that on a separate spreadsheet because marijuana is not as harmful for your health as before. And we need to know about drugs usage because people can die. And so the higher bad drugs should be thought of separately than marijuana. Because marijuana could be used to help you with some of your diseases. So I consider that to be thought of as differently for statistics.
Yeah.
It's just what I think.
Well, for marijuana, there was a lot of health problems that were invented by people who didn't want people smoking pot. I mean, it was,
Right.
Put on the class A list of banned substances because Nixon didn't like hippies and black people. Documented fact. And welcome to the party, homeschool time. Cheers. Physically more difficult for that to happen. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's
All right.
I mean,
Let's
without question, drugs are a problem in the poorer communities across the United States because of the drain of economic potential. For the same reason that drinking was a problem in 19 teens that held back, that hindered economic productivity, hindered economic growth among poor classes of people in the urban areas, and caused all kinds of health problems and civic problems and family problems and all kinds of other stuff. For the same reason that alcohol was a problem in the 19 teens 100 years ago is the same reason that drugs are a problem in the poor communities today. But today, drugs are a much smaller problem than, illegal drugs, specifically cocaine, marijuana, whatever, PCP, et cetera, et cetera. That shit's a much smaller problem proportionally than alcohol was in the 19 teens. And I would argue today that the time for prohibition is long past. There's certain things that need to be on the restricted classes of drugs because of the distinct health problems that are associated with them. But there are other drugs that definitely should not be on those restricted lists, and they're not as much of a problem as we think they are, because not as many. Hell, you can even look at cocaine and say that's not nearly the problem today that alcohol was 100 years ago.
I have some bad news here.
Uh-oh, what's up?
From, what is this website called?
Bales of cocaine.
Hold on.
What?
I'm trying to look this up. WorldPopulationReview.com has here, which country consumes the most illicit drugs? What do you think the number one country is?
Most illicit drugs? Afghanistan.
Than any other country. What does the chat?
Russia.
What does the chat have to say?
Brazil.
Wait a minute. Let the chat chime in. You're wrong.
I have no idea.
All
I'm
those
way behind
places
on
are
chat.
wrong.
Oh, okay. Japan?
No.
To really abuse coke, you need to make six figures. That's what I was saying. I agree.
Afghanistan was a good guess because of the opium fields and whatnot. Yeah. The answer to this, are you ready?
Yes.
And this is from Drug Use by Country 2023. So it says here.
Hang on, time out. Vape pens don't count as drugs.
Okay.
No, drugs are a social thing, and if you're taking a vape pen, you are a pariah.
All right.
Nobody likes you. So
which country
carry on.
consumes the most illicit drugs?
Reefer madness. Yep.
The answer. The United States consumes more illicit drugs than any other country. When compared to other countries, the USA has a very high rate of illegal drug use. It is estimated that approximately 6% of the people in the United States use illegal drugs. There are a few other countries that also have rates of illegal drug use over 5%. They include
Okay.
Greenland, the United Kingdom, and Mongolia.
I bet UK does a lot of pot or a lot of coke. I bet they still do a lot of
The
coke in the
reason
UK.
this,
Mongolia?
yeah. Mhm.
What the fuck are they doing in Mongolia?
I'll click on it in a minute. But the reason
That sounds like a place to party.
the reason
Man.
they say that it's high,
I bet they're rolling in Mali. They're just having raves every night, and they're just like, goosh, 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 goosh,
I'll
goosh,
get at
goosh,
it in a minute.
goosh. And they're just like, and the lights are flashing all the time, and they're always just going, and the goats are just go all over the place, and yaks
But
are just
here's what it
vomiting, and they're
says.
just like, goosh, goosh, goosh. And they go in shifts.
It says
Like
here.
some people come in for 6 hours, and the next people come in for 6.
All right, let me finish this up and then I'll get on to Mongolia for you. Because drugs are so heavily harshly prosecuted, it becomes like the forbidden thing. So, according to this website, it might make it more alluring for people. And the United States is dealing with an influx of illegal drugs from the Mexican drug cartels.
Mm-hmm.
What is the drug capital?
Opium, of
Okay.
course. UK and opium.
Question 2.
Of course.
What is the drug capital of the world? You said it in one of
My bedroom. Whoop.
you said it
what?
in one of your countries you named.
Afghanistan? Oh, how about that?
Even though a lot of
I'm
people
smart.
associate Mexico with drug use, Afghanistan is actually the country that is the capital of drug addiction. Afghanistan has been through a lot during the past few decades.
You see, I could see people in Iraq just being all like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get lit. I'm not gonna mess with this shit." And then they just smoke up a doob and they're cool and
Okay.
chill with it. I could see that.
So, you wanted to know about Mongolia. Let's go back to that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet they're doing opium. I bet they're like chewing on some kind of opium weed or some shit like that. Just some kind of like
Let's see if it
some
says
kind of
anything about
opium
Mongolia.
grass. They're just like just chewing on it.
Oh, this is about population. No,
Mm-hmm.
no.
And Dustin makes a good point. Of course, the United States is top in drug consumption. We're the richest fucking country in the world. Of course, we're high on.
Because we have
drugs.
and I would point it out before, Wall Street, and they do cocaine. So yeah.
Well, not just that. It's a great place to do business. The United States is a great place to do business, and in their heart, drug dealers are businessmen. It's a great place to do business. You come to the United States, you can sell some drugs. That's it.
All right, we're gonna find out what they do. Drug use in Mongolia. WorldLifeExpectancy.com. According to the latest WHO data published in 2020, drug use deaths in Mongolia reached 33, or 0.15% of the total deaths. All right, leading cause of deaths. Alcohol is number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Yak attack needs to be one. Attacked by yak. Mongolian yak attack.
No, I'm trying to figure out. Drug use is 45, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of drug use they do.
Hey Siri, what is the primary illegal drug in Mongolia?
Oh, here we
Gotta
go.
be opium. Criminality in Mongolia. Let's see what it says. What do you got?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is from Asia, and this is from a website. This article is from 2019. The Mongolian police have arrested 88 people linked to 29 drug-related crimes in the first 2 months of the year. So Mongolia has become one of the user countries of drugs. These number of drug-related crimes have continued to increase. But what are the drugs? It does not say. I have to keep looking.
For what it's worth, Mongolian girls and young women, particularly from low-income households or those who are unemployed, are most vulnerable to sex trafficking, while boys are frequently victims of labor exploitation, often sent to countries such as South Korea, Czech Republic, Turkey, Kazakhstan. known for this. Smuggling is a major market in Mongolia. Blah blah blah. Of course, trade, environment, drugs. There's little documented evidence on domestic heroin market. Generally, heroin seizures are infrequent but large, leaving uncertainty as to how large and consolidated the heroin market is in Mongolia. Drug use is concentrated in Ulaanbaatar, but is on the increase in the provinces as well, which might also be the case for heroin. The cocaine market, or as Mitch McConnell would say, cocaine market, clearly small in scope, limited almost entirely to the wealthy and to foreign recreational users. So again, cocaine for rich people, heroin for poor people. Cannabis grows naturally in Mongolia. No shit, cannabis grows naturally in Mongolia. Making it easily accessible and consequently the most popular drug in the country. Cannabis, the most popular drug in the country. In spite of that, prevalence is not significant. What?
Wait, what is the
In spite
most?
of that, prevalence is not.
What is the most?
Cannabis is the most popular drug in the country, but its prevalence is not significant. Historically, cannabis has been smuggled to China, refined into hashish, and smuggled back into Mongolia. There is no recent evidence to support the existence of such a flow. More recently, however, hashish parcels coming from the US, Netherlands, and Spain have been seized, which might suggest a shift in hashish smuggling.
Ooh.
So it looks like, let's see here. Conversely, the synthetic drug trade in Mongolia and the trade of methamphetamine coming from China is considerable. Airmail appears to be prominent smuggling method, although methamphetamine has been smuggled through the border of China as well. In addition, along with rising quantities of seized synthetic drugs, which might indicate an increase in domestic demand, methamphetamine labs have been dismantled in Mongolia close to the Chinese border. So it sounds like heroin is the number one drug in Mongolia, with hashish or methamphetamine being right behind. So there you go.
The chat really has a lot of interesting comments. You need to.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up real quick.
Last I remember, we were discussing the income thing.
Right. Vape pen.
No, you have to go down
done.
a little.
I'm in here. I'm getting there. High school easy and SIGs, of which I supplied to my friends.
I mean, I don't remember where you left off.
Yeah, I'm right around the area where I left off. South America doesn't keep any records. That was the last one I saw. Opium, Golden Triangle for London. UK is a banking capital, which means probably heroin and cocaine.
Oh, okay, Nick. Like what? Let's focus on this comment.
All kinds of drugs would help you.
What kind of drugs would help me? But keep going.
All kinds of drugs. Yeah, I'll catch up. USA is a great place to sell drugs. Seriously, podcast in the house. Cheers, Ike. Welcome to the party.
Hi, Ike.
I've got an inventory count for you right now, Ike. I've got 5 bottles of alcohol at my distillery available. So if you want one, you can have up to 2. I will not give you 4. Sorry.
Did you catch Mike?
Because I have 2 people. I have 2 people coming in this weekend to buy bottles, so I can't. I can't sell you any. I can't sell you 4. I don't have 4.
Did you catch Mike's answer here, where you can get meth? If you want meth, go to any bar where the bikers hang out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the easiest place to get meth. You drive around until you see a bunch of motorcycles, Harleys ideally, but motorcycles in general. Go inside, you can get some meth. Probably some cocaine too. People aren't coming to your country. You failed as a country. That is accurate. I would make that argument fairly well. Trouble with bodies from fentanyl ODs. I've heard fentanyl being thrown around a lot.
We should ask
I'm
Bacon.
skeptical
Bacon
as to whether or not it's a real
that.
thing versus just scare tactics from people who insist that Mexicans are bad. But fentanyl. That's what we heard about all during Halloween, that people are putting fentanyl in their candy and giving candy to kids to kill kids with fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
Fentanyl. And exactly 0 deaths happen from fentanyl being put in candy for Halloween.
Dustin
It's
has an interesting.
just more nonsensical scare tactic bullshit.
Oh.
Go back to my movie. What movie are you watching, Ike? What movie? I watched Wakanda Forever earlier today. It was a very good movie, although it was about an hour too long. 30 minutes to an hour too long. It was a really good movie, though. Really good movie. Snorting a plate full of Ajax. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. I'm caught up in chat. There you go. But I do want to know what movie you're watching, Ike. Seriously, podcast, give us a movie. What movie are you watching, you big chode? Come on, man. Tease a movie and don't tell us what the movie is. God. Anyway. What are we talking about? Mongolian drugs. Mongolian drugs. What else? I don't remember what else we were talking about.
Where you can get meth.
Where we get meth? Yeah, any biker bar. You can get meth at any biker bar. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think that would be a good series. Okay, today we're going to do meth. Where can I find some meth? How hard is it to get meth in the city of Houston? As a dumb guy in the suburbs, not knowing shit about shit, where am I going to score some meth? I've got $20. I've got $20 and all the time in the world. Where am I going to score some meth? How hard would it be to score some coke? I'm a dumb guy in the suburbs. I want to score some coke. I'm a middle-aged guy. I look like a dad. I'm going to go try and score some coke. Where can I score some coke?
Here, Mike has an idea.
I'm actively trying to figure it out. I hop in my car. I drive downtown, downtown Houston. Where I'm going to score some coke. I think it would be a cool little thought experiment. Any gas station in New Caney?
Mike says, speak to any of the cooks at restaurants. They got the hookups.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you see, that's the thing. Part of the show would have to be me thinking about, where would the likely places be?
That's actually true, Mike,
because you're not going to go to. I mean, there's going to be some kitchens that'll have cocaine, but most kitchens will have meth. I would think.
I don't know what he did, but I've met a few people who were working in the restaurant industry on YouTube, and they were drug addicts.
Mm-hmm. I remember, back when I was in late high school, early college, when I was a busser and cook at Shoney's. I don't know if y'all have Shoney's up there.
I've never heard of it.
It's a breakfast place. It's like a Denny's, a little bit higher up.
Was this in Ohio?
Upscale. No, here in Texas. It's a little bit more upscale than Denny's, but it's usually attached to a hotel. Most of the Shoney's I've ever seen have been attached to hotels. They see old Humble walking and they're like, narc, someone's dad is trying to buy some cocaine. You're going to bust me to the cops. Accurate. But even among the waiters and waitresses there, cocaine was a casual drug that they just had on hand.
Wait.
If you wanted some, you could have.
Nick wants me to try opium.
Opium?
Well, he says opium
Jesus Christ, go from
triangle.
0 to 100.
Is that what you want me to try?
Fucking hell. Opium's the hard shit. Although I guess I wouldn't mind, spending it. Just the idea of spending a weekend just strung out on opium, though. Losing a whole
Somebody
fucking
here. Oh, Mike mentioned Reefer Madness. Okay.
Yeah.
In my lifetime as an adult,
pure propaganda.
In the last few years or so, I don't remember. I was flipping the channels, and I see this film in black and white that kind of caught my attention. And I didn't click on the info, and I'm watching it, and I go, "Don't tell me this is Reefer Madness." And then I clicked on the info, and it was Reefer Madness. So they still show that.
Mm-hmm. It's an insane show. That movie has become basically a comedic version of known government propaganda to try and stop you from smoking weed. You're gonna get crazy and kill your parents and
Nick,
rape everything.
I kind of want to do edibles, but I was told that I probably can't have marijuana because I have a heart condition and it could rev up your heart rate. And then I will get flagged because I have a pacemaker.
Yikes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably a bad idea in general.
But I think I want.
You'd probably do better with oatmeal and carrots.
What
than
did you
with
say?
marijuana and opium. You'd probably do better with oatmeal and carrots.
I don't know
than
what that
marijuana and
is.
opium. Oatmeal is like a
Oh, I
breakfast
know what oatmeal
cereal
is. I'm just
thing,
kidding. I hate
and
oatmeal.
carrots
I freaking
are these pointy little long orange things that grow
hate
down.
oatmeal. I would rather starve
You just like
than eat oatmeal.
you
I
pull the
can't
carrot
get
out of the
oat.
ground and you like,
I hate oat.
what's up, Doc?
I hate oat milk. I hate oat bread. I hate oats. Oats are the worst. My mother used to try to get me to eat oatmeal because she says it's good for cholesterol. As a kid.
Great powder comes great responsibility. That is a great fucking comment, Ed. I appreciate that.
Oh,
And welcome
he's
to the
right.
party, Mr.
Oh.
Edward Yurden. With great powder comes great responsibility.
Ed Humble, we have to give you an applause here. Restream gave you an award.
Oh, we did? We got an award from Restream? What?
It
Where?
says here, Restream.io. And then you got a little reward symbol. It says here,
Where?
I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat.
I don't see it. Is it like in? Do you see it in chat? I don't see it.
Okay. Edward made that comment above Edward. It says here, Restream.io 1:37:10.
Oh, was it on YouTube?
No, I'm in the Restream.io.
I'm in Restream.io
I'm reading
too,
it
and I
for
don't see
you.
it.
It says Restream has the emblem R. That's their avatar. Restream.io 1 hour 37 minutes and 10 seconds. You have a little trophy here. A championship trophy says I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat.
I wonder if I have it in my email box. Very cool. Hey, Ed, if you haven't subscribed, do so now. And thank you. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. With great powder becomes an invisible. Yeah, I do not see that comment. I don't see that award. But I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you.
Hang on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh. Are you gonna? Oh,
let me see if I can pull this off.
Don't pull it off in front on YouTube. We might get banned.
Okay, I'll get you banned.
What else we got?
No, this is annoying.
Travel less. I bet truckers do a lot of. I bet there's a lot of cocaine among truckers. You know, just to keep them moving. Where else would there be? Like, I really do think that'd be a cool series. Like, where do because there's that guy who's like how to make everything. His channel, like he goes through the technologies from Stone Age all the way up to, and he makes this stuff from scratch. He's made glass, he's made beer, he's made alcohol, he's made smelted gold and all the stuff. He's done all that, like all of it. Like he's done it all on his channel. He had a fire in his shed. He lost all of his stuff and he started back again. Fascinating channel. Love his content. But that'd be like my version of it would be sins across America. Where do you find the sins in America? We're on the quest right now for a transvestite trans prostitutes. Where do you find trans prostitutes in Houston? Meth truckers. Oh wait, let me read that. What did it say? I wasn't reading it. A person with cancer did edibles to manage pain, ate whole cookie first time and slept for a day, had to experiment and found amount to consume and still be functional. That's very good.
I'm going to tell a story since Mike brought this up.
Okay.
My
tell a story.
sister-in-law's family invites us to their parties. And one time her niece and her husband decided to have the party. Well, her niece's husband's father had brought special cookies. Okay. And
Okay.
I think he claimed he had a medical marijuana card.
Nasty
My
Toll House cookie.
sister-in-law's brother Mike decided to have one. Now, everybody says when you eat edibles, you can't eat it like food in the sense of overindulging, because you may respond more because you're eating more of whatever I don't know if it's I don't know what kind of marijuana they put in them. And I was always told you should just have a little bit, but he decided to eat the whole cookie. And then he passed out on the couch for the whole duration of the party. And then when we were leaving, he woke up, and the niece and the husband were like, "You're staying overnight. You can go home and sometime tomorrow." But for hours and hours, all he did was sleep.
As one does. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you take a lot of pot.
But I would like to
You take a lot
try
of pot,
it
you tend to go to sleep.
because
You say what?
I would like to try edibles because it might help me, but I have a pacemaker. So some people say that it might not be helpful for me then, because it cause other problems like arrhythmias and shit. So I was thinking of asking.
Consult your doctors.
I was thinking of asking him, but because the therapist people won't help me. But the guy is my age, or he might be 1 year younger. He's either 1 year older or 1 year younger than me. And he is the electrical physiologist. He's in charge. So I was thinking of asking him if I could do it.
Yeah, and I mean the doctor's probably gonna say no, it's bad for you. But taking one gummy or one bite or something, whatever, is probably gonna, for anxiety.
But I was also
whatever.
told.
Unisom, I've had Unisom, and I've taken all kinds of stuff to help myself.
But I was told
But
by Joey and others that if you're actually gonna do it, but you've never done it before, you should always be with somebody who has done it. Even if you do it virtually, like they're on the screen with you, because you don't know how you're gonna react or what it's like.
I would recommend cautiously moving forward and definitely talk to people who have experience with this shit. I've recreationally done things all my life. My drug of choice right now is alcohol, and other stuff that I do recreationally and occasionally.
Like, for example, if I were going to do it, I would.
But my drug of choice at one point was running. So
if I was going to try an edible, okay, because I won't try the smoke because I don't like cigarette smoke and stuff. So I can't envision I would like the smell of marijuana. And besides, I live in a house. So if I had edibles, it'd be easier to mask than.
Sure.
And besides, I don't want to get.
And see, I'm an old school kind of guy. If I'm going to do weed, I'm going to do weed.
Yeah, but don't.
I'm going to have a lighter and a pipe, and I'm going to smoke.
But don't forget, this isn't my house, and somebody is old-fashioned, and so I don't want to cause trouble. So, and I figure I would probably enjoy it more in food form.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just try very little. Like, let's say, for example, if I decided a cookie or whatever I did, I would break it in half.
Yeah. Yeah, microdose it. That's how you do it. That's how I was told you should do mushrooms for the first time. That's how I was told you should do all kinds of stuff for the first time. That's how you do alcohol for the first time. You get you're given a small glass of wine or a small glass of beer. That's not up for me, Nick. Glass of whiskey.
I'm not the owner of this channel, so that's not up for me to decide if that's allowed, because that could get them in trouble.
Nope, not on this podcast. Nope, absolutely not. The last thing I want is for the TTB or TABC to be all like, "You're being a misbehaving mister. We got to take you out."
Whoever wants to walk me through it would have to be privately, like after his screening.
Although I did have a comedian come on my show and full on light up during the interview that I had with him.
Wait, what?
That was something. I had a comedian, a California-based comedian, come on the show, do an interview, and we talked. And towards the end of the interview, he's like, "You mind?" And he didn't even wait for me to say yes or no. He's like, "You mind?"
Were you going to let him light up?
And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" All right, I guess
Would
that's
you
how
have
this
let
show's
him?
gonna fucking go. Well, I couldn't stop him at that point. He was already lit.
Well, how do you
I
feel
mean, it was
about it?
just like,
You're in a
okay.
state where it's not legal.
Uh-huh.
So, would does YouTube flag for the state, or would they flag because they lit up?
I don't know. I don't
And
know.
how would that
I
work
don't want
anyways?
to.
Because in some places in America it's legal. So I don't think that for marijuana
My
use, they should bust you.
my operation requires me to not be in violation of laws. So, if I am going to maintain my distillery's license, I personally, as the maintainer of that license, need to keep my nose clean.
Um,
So that means I can't be pulled over for DUIs. I can't be pulled over for DWIs. I can't be pulled over for any felonies because then when I renew my license, that could come under review.
is
Which
that because of
means
the
I'm
nature
also
of your
not,
business, or is that
that
any
is because of
business
the
in
nature of my
Texas?
business. That's because of the nature of my business, which means I'm not going to be doing anything publicly. I'm not going to be publicly disclosing whether or not I do anything publicly. And if I'm ever going to light up publicly, I am absolutely not going to do it on my channel
Right. How was it when you had
because
Joey on?
for the same reason why a teacher is not going to go into her staff meeting and say, "Here's my OnlyFans," because you really don't want a middle school
Did you hear
teacher
about that?
also
Speaking
doing
of that
porn.
scenario, there was a teacher who somebody found out that she had an OnlyFans page, and they made a big thing
Mhm,
about it. I don't know if she got fired.
mhm. Yeah, and teachers that happens to teach you hear that story every year. Some teacher has or had used to be a stripper, is a stripper, former OnlyFans is OnlyFans, Pornhub, X videos, whatever. They've got some shit out there, and they get fired. It happens every
I'm gonna
year.
say
It
to those
happens once a
people,
year at least. We hear that story every year, and I'm not going to be the distiller that was smoking weed on YouTube and got lost his fucking license. I'm not going to be that guy. So I can talk about where you can purchase it, but I'm not going to be doing it on my channel. And I'm certainly not going to get pulled over after doing it. I'll have an Uber take me home if I were to do acid or
okay,
whatever
Nick,
in
but
one of
here's
these
the
bars
thing.
where I find stuff.
I t-
I'm not stupid. I'm not a fucking moron. I'm not Ricky Williams
but here's the
who's going to
thing,
get
Nick.
arrested high as a fucking kite because he's dumb.
Nick,
I'm smart enough to at least get a fucking
I
Uber.
talked to Joey Edibles, and Joey Edibles feels that Illinois is very high in prices for marijuana products, like way high. So a lot of these things are very expensive. Now, here's what's funny. I've never tried marijuana in my life, okay? Never, ever, ever in my life. So one day I got the mail, right? And I'm looking at this going, okay, why am I getting an advertisement for a weed store? The weed store had a sale. I've never heard of this store. I've never tried marijuana, but somehow I was on their list.
Well, there you go.
And apparently,
you were probably
at the time,
it was a list bought from a doctor or a pharmacy.
well,
or
the weed
something.
store wasn't
You
far
fit a
from where I
profile.
lived, so maybe that's why.
It could just be zip
It
code
was
search.
like in the
And
next
yes,
town
Mike,
over. But at the time, it was kind of bizarre. There's special prices for people who have a medical marijuana card, and then everybody else is different. And the taxes are different, so it's very bizarre.
And yes, Mike, I am talking about where you could potentially purchase the drugs, but I'm not doing them. I'm not doing them, and I have absolutely not purchased them. And there's,
But you know what I find interesting?
as an educational or scientific approach to the idea of the thing. I mean, there's no harm in talking about it, but I'm
But you know
certainly
what
not
I
going to
find
do it on my
interesting?
fucking show.
That shrooms are becoming the new drug that they're probably going to legalize.
Interesting. I don't know
Or
about that.
people are at least advocating for it. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
they're advocating for it.
I can't remember. Was it Colorado? One state legalized shrooms
Interesting.
because
Unfamiliar.
you know how we have pharmaceutical drugs for mental health?
Yeah.
Some people have tried those and they have to try a bunch of concoctions and it doesn't work for them. Or some claim they feel like not themselves. And some of the drugs might be more harmful, like you can have suicidal thoughts or intrusive thoughts. And so a lot of
Like
people don't want to take those. And what we have been
Sure.
finding out when we don't get lied to, and the research is accurate, that in some instances they're finding out that there's potential for some of your psychoactive drugs to help you with mental health, in particularly anxiety and depression. And that's why a lot
Yeah.
of people take marijuana, not because of just pain relief, but some people claim they don't get an actual marijuana medical card, but they do it on their own. They have anxiety and they feel better.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it
I
matters,
guarantee most people who do alcohol or do marijuana do not have medical marijuana.
and I do not know if it
Although in
matters.
places where it's legal, it's really easy to get a
Right.
marijuana
But
card
I'm
because
just
you're just like,
saying,
oh, my knee hurts, and they're like, here's your
some
script.
people won't wait for the card. They'll just try it on their own.
Mhm.
And
Oh, right.
I don't know if it matters if you smoke it, eat it with the THC, not the THC. I don't know all the ins and outs, the specifics. And so I suffer very badly from anxiety where I'm not exactly functioning in society like I should. And so I've been thinking about trying gummies. But when I talked to Joey a long time ago, we concluded that prices in Illinois are kind of high for marijuana stuff.
Okay.
And I can't walk into
Then
the
don't.
store by myself. Like, I wouldn't know what to get, what to buy. So I would have to talk to people who know more, like friends I trust.
Okay.
Offline.
I don't know what to tell you.
I wonder if Bacon would know. I'm not saying he does or doesn't
I
do
mean,
it.
it's not a requirement to do it. You don't have to.
No.
You
I
just
want to
don't.
function in life. So how am I going to function if I got anxiety? I need something to help me. What I've been doing isn't working.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not
I
asking you
don't
to
know.
tell me. I'm just putting it
Yeah.
out there.
I don't know what would be the solution. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like I'm no expert either. But Nick was saying it would help for anxiety.
I mean, I kind of get the impression that it, over the long term, look at there. Speak of the fucking devil, goddamn Bacon has arrived. I kind of get the feeling that it might help in the short term, but not in the long term.
How the
but I don't know.
hell?
I mean, you gotta figure you gotta figure out how to deal with life around you and shit. I don't know. Cheers, Bacon. Welcome to the party.
Oh, hi, Bacon. Bacon, you missed a hell of a stream. We've been talking about drugs all night.
All night, all fucking night.
Yes,
And I'm
we
gonna
have.
kill this
We've been
bottle of
talking
booze.
about how much people used to drink. We've been talking about the drugs we want to try. Even myself.
Oh, and according to my math was wrong. It was 2.5 gallons of pure alcohol, which would be about 4.5 gallons of 80 proof booze. God damn it.
And I come to the
I just messed up
conclusion
my-
on Bacon that I probably should try marijuana of some sort to help me. Even Nick thinks that I need help.
So from 1900 to 1915, the average adult drank about 2.5 gallons of pure alcohol per year, not per month. I was way off in my, but that would be about 2.5 gallons of pure alcohol.
What makes it pure?
Well, that'd be 100%.
Oh, gotcha.
So 2.5 gallons divided by 0.40 which would be 40% alcohol by volume. That would be 6.25 gallons per year. and 6.25 times 5, roughly, bottles of alcohol would be 31.2 bottles per year. Divided by 12, you're talking about 2.5 to 3 bottles per month per person from 1900 to 1915. 2.5 to 3 bottles per person per month, which is a lot of alcohol. That is a lot of alcohol. 2.5 bottles per person per month. And if there's 6 shots, that's generous, times 16 would be 41.6 divided by 30 days. That's 1.5 drinks. Let's call it 2 drinks a night. 2 drinks every other night. 1 drink every night. 2 drinks every other night. Every single night. 2, then 1, then 2, then 1 of alcohol, of whiskey. We're not talking about wine. Wine would be more. Beer would be even more than that. We're talking about pure. We're talking about alcohol, high proof alcohol. 2 drinks, 1 drink every single night. And most people do not do that. Most people do not drink that much. Most people, high alcohol consumption today is 5 drinks a week. High alcohol consumption today, 5 drinks a week. Most people drink in the neighborhood of 3 drinks a week on average, 1 to 3 drinks a week. Drinks, 1 to 3 per week. So there you go. So that's the math pre-prohibition. We drink much less today. What is I'm curious. Hey Siri, what is the average alcohol consumption today in America? Oh fuck. Hey Siri, what is average alcohol consumption in America today? Average American drinks today. Average alcohol consumption amounts to 494 drinks a year, 9 drinks per week, which is still 1.3 drinks per day. Really? So we're still drinking like 8 drinks a week, 9 drinks a week? Huh. I thought it was much lower. That's not much lower than it was pre-prohibition. We've just about recovered to pre-prohibition days. I'm going to stick to 1 alcoholic drink of the choice. You can switch from beer over wine, spirits, the most popular alcoholic beverage. Okay, they say drinks of alcohol. It could be 1.3 beers. So that could be considerably less, considering a beer is about 10% of the alcohol of booze. Okay, so there needs to be more specific data in that statement. It is not clear. 7 alcohol type, 31%, mostly women over 55, 27 gender. We need more information because this is unclear. Hey Siri, on average, how many gallons of alcohol do Americans consume? 2.3 gallons of alcohol a year. So on average, we consume 2.3 gallons of alcohol per year. Still, it was 2.5 in 1900 to 1915. An analysis by the AP found that Americans consume more alcohol per person in modern times than Americans in the 19 teens did before the advent of Prohibition. I learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? I was not expecting that at all. I thought we drank about half of what we drank during Prohibition.
Well, wait a
Well, I guess
minute.
we can expect some shit
But
to come
here's the
down.
thing. Was that including COVID-19? The years of COVID-19 in your research there?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Because
It said this year,
during the pandemic, we were
2022.
drinking more.
Yeah, we're working less and drinking more.
That's true. I'm willing
So,
to do
there
that,
we
Nick.
go.
Just not on live.
Yep,
Because I need to
there
do
you go.
something because I can't take this anymore.
I feel you. All right. It is after 2:00. I think we should probably move towards wrapping
Sorry,
up. because
Bacon, you
I'm-
just got
I have
here
got it.
and we're closing up.
Yeah, Bacon, you just took too damn much time to come and join us.
Unless you go
It's
live.
your fault. Actually, more importantly, Bacon showed up, so it's probably time to wrap up the show. There goes the neighborhood.
Or maybe we
They
should
let
give
Bacon
it
in.
like
They let
5
anybody
minutes.
in. Oh, I'm good. I'm good for another. I'm good for another 15. Let's go
Okay.
15 at least.
Because I don't want to leave out Bacon. Bacon's awesome.
Yeah. I don't wanna
Hey,
leave out Bacon.
Bacon, I have.
No. Okay. So
Can I tell
the
you?
idea.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, I
No,
have
no,
something
no.
to
Go
say.
ahead.
Okay, so I've been doing these experiments, trying to figure out what I could put on popcorn, because I tried the experiment of popcorn and ketchup, and that was a disaster.
That sounds gross.
So today, Bacon, I did something. I had popcorn again, and I put on it garlic powder and the onions, that you get in the herb section that come in the bottle. They're like the dehydrated onions. I mixed them up in a cup and I put popcorn in it. But that was too yucky. I didn't like that either.
Awesome.
So you gotta help me out here, buddy. What next for my popcorn?
How about salt and butter?
I can't have butter. I can have margarine.
All right. Fine. Salt and margarine.
But margarine
On
was
popcorn.
too expensive at the store, so I couldn't buy it.
All
So
right.
it depends.
Maybe
But
just
my
eat some
dietitian
peanuts
said
or something.
margarine
Jesus
is
Christ.
healthier. So I would do margarine. And I know I like butter on popcorn, so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to try something new.
All right.
So
Sometimes new isn't better.
that's true.
I mean, sometimes
but
just
this
go with
is-
what works.
But here's the
I
thing.
can't tell you how many times I've gone to a Mexican food restaurant here in the suburbs of Houston,
here
or
it
even
comes.
deep inside of Houston, and all I'm going to have is a fucking burrito. I see the rest of the shit that's on their menu, and I'm like, nah, I know y'all can make a burrito. I'm going to eat your fucking burrito. And that's it. I don't want their chili rellenos or their fajitas. Their fajitas tend to be fairly good. But I know they make a good burrito, and they make a big burrito, and it fills you up, and it's got all the
That's
food.
your
And
favorite?
it's got the beans and cheese and all the stuff. I will eat the shit out of their burritos. And if you make a good burrito, I'm going to eat the fuck out of the burrito. It's what I consider my Mexican food yardstick. If you're a restaurant and you can't make a good burrito, you can't make anything else. I don't give a shit how good your chili rellenos are. I don't give a shit how good your fajitas are. I don't give a shit if the rest of the food on your menu is an angelic, orgasmic experience. If you can't make a baseline burrito, you do not deserve to be in business as a Mexican food restaurant. I don't care about your enchiladas. I don't care about your tacos. I don't care about anything else on the menu. If you can't make a damn tortilla filled with beans and cheese and meat and maybe some lettuce and tomato, if you can't do that, you don't deserve to be in business. Period. I don't even give a shit about how badly you make your margaritas.
All right.
If you cannot do a burrito, you do
Margarita
not deserve to be in
with
business
rice.
as a Mexican food restaurant.
That's what I'm saying.
And quite frankly, I don't give a shit if you do put sirloin beef in your fajitas. That is not what a fajita is supposed to be. sirloin beef. Don't give me this shit with your high quality meat in your goddamn fajitas. If you're gonna have
Are
an
you talking
authentic
about a breakfast
Mexican
burrito?
fajita, you were talking about goat meat, for God's
Oh,
sake.
see.
You're talking about some of the greasiest, nastiest, cheapest fucking meat you can find, and you just stick it in there and cover it up and give it to us, and you're like, sorry, that's the best we got. I don't want high quality meat in a fajita. If it's a traditional fajita, it better be barely edible. Barely even. I want to even question whether or not it came from a cow, because that's how it's done in the hinterlands of Mexico. The only place you get real beef is in Mexico City. They don't fucking do real beef in Coahuila. Are you kidding me? You go to Chihuahua, do you think you're going to get real beef?
No,
not
he
unless it's
ended
in
it
a resort.
early.
Oh, thank you, sir. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, Bacon. I was told that margarine is better for me now because today's margarine doesn't have trans fats.
Yeah, their fats identify as the fats that they were born as.
I was told butter is not better for me. I asked my dietitian. But
yeah. Friday stream ended abruptly. Oh. You there? Sunflowers? You got quiet like abruptly. You there? Sunflowers? Cheers? Hello? Nothing? I think she lost her feed.
no, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay. You just like stopped suddenly.
Because I was on the wrong screen.
Okay.
So this is what our buddy Bacon says. Margarine is not good for you, to say the least.
It is
You're
not.
far better off using the real thing. But as I was saying, the dietitian told me I could have it because I asked, and she said margarine is healthier because it doesn't have trans fats anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
that was the assumption back in the day.
Then he
margarine is hydrogenated vegetable oil.
Then he
It's
knows.
hydrogenated vegetable oil, but butter is just traditional, pure, organic fat. It's not hydrogenated. So there's and 20 years ago, the hydrogenation process was understood to be unhealthy with cholesterol and HDLs or LDLs, whatever the trans fats were. I don't know if the process has changed. We haven't heard anything about it in 10 years. I don't remember. But my understanding is just from a general dietary point of view, regular butter is a natural food that your body is familiar with processing versus margarine, which is an artificial food that your body is not as familiar in processing and doesn't clean it out as easily. I don't know what all the details are. I don't remember. I don't study it. I haven't read about it. I don't know for sure.
I'll have to take that into consideration, both of what you say.
But I do know that margarine spreads on butter easier than butter, or rather on bread than butter does, because butter is more solid, margarine is softer, and you can spread that. That's why your spreadable butters tend to be margarines, and your cooking butters tend to be butter. You got to read the fucking labels.
But according to Bacon,
they're not clear about that stuff.
Let's see what else he's got to say. He says garlic powder and onions. Yeah, the dehydrated onions. He says this woman does not make good choices when it comes to topping her popcorn.
That is accurate. I was thinking the same thing. He said it out loud. I think I probably kind of.
All right, this is Mike's.
You went silent.
Mike has something to say here. Sea salt and black pepper is good on popcorn. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, it is. Yes, sea salt and black pepper. Also good on French fries, if you're into that sort of thing. Placed into food after food has been cooked. Raw gives you the most benefit, perfect blood pressure, perfect cholesterol, perfect red, white blood cells. Oh, I did not know that.
Now Bacon's confusing me.
You were told the opposite of what's true. And there's a lot of nutritionists that'll do that. They get their information from certain sources, and certain sources have, it was thought that hydrogenated oils and hydrogenated foods were better for you in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. It was thought that was because it didn't have fat. It didn't have natural fat, and it was thought that fat was bad for you. But now we know that it's sugar that's bad for you and not fat. Fat's bad. It's not good. If it's too fatty, it's not really
Okay,
good.
Bacon, I guess I'm going to need your help because I'm totally confused.
Yeah, it is very confusing.
I don't know what to think anymore.
So many different kind of so much different advice that clashes with each other, and knowing the history behind the advice that you get is important, because there's a lot of industry groups that advocate putting corn products in your food, and corn products are hydrogenated vegetable oil, corn syrup rather, and all kinds of stuff. So there are interests that have a vested policy interest on maximizing their sales, and their sales include corn products like hydrogenated vegetable oil and corn syrup. So, oh, good. Excuse me. Big yawn because I'm a degenerate. Since I was just kind of ended.
It says here, according to Harvard, the older margarines had high levels of trans fat than.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
I just like the flavor of butter. Butter tastes good. It just tastes good in my. If you have a make cookies with butter versus cookies with margarine, the butter cookies taste better. You do butter with your eggs. You put butter in your skillet and you fry your eggs. It just tastes better. Unless you'd use olive oil as your oil base. And bacon as a link. Wrote about it here. Even time to cite what I was saying.
From the
Saturated suicide: the reality of the war on fat. Cool. Bacon right stuff. That's neat. Anywho.
See?
Diet is an interesting creature. We've gone through so many iterations of
some of the new margarines
diet and dietary changes.
Oh, let's see. What does Harvard say? Some of the newer margarines that are low in saturated fat, high in unsaturated fat, and free of trans fats are fine as long as you don't use too much.
Yeah.
And I got heart health problems. So if Bacon's got some news,
too. I should
if Bacon's got some
doctor.
info that I don't know about, sure way. Because I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Because whenever I tell him, he usually has stuff to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he seems to know some shit about nutrition and stuff. Drifter Gnome had alcohol too. Butter and cheese makes everything better. I agree. Yeah, I was talking about that with my family earlier. Like, cheese is unhealthy.
Oh, maybe I read that.
There were some studies. Welcome to the party, Drifter Nomad. There were some studies with mice who ate cheese and mice who didn't eat cheese, and the mice who ate the cheese didn't live as long as the mice who didn't eat the cheese. And I was like, but what kind of life would that be? A vide sans fromage would just suck. Why would you do that? Why would you even
I thought I read that.
I mean, I'm sure the suicide rate was pretty high with those mice too. I mean, good God.
Maybe I need to read this again.
Oh, bacon fat, cooked eggs. Yeah, I also like to do sausage with my cooked eggs. I'll make the sausage and I'll cook the eggs in the sausage fat. But bacon fat and cooked eggs is so good. Oh, so good. I don't miss a lot of meals, as you can imagine. I'm kind of a
I thought,
chubby
I'm
dude.
so confused.
Ugh.
All right, I'll reread this again. Maybe I missed something.
Yeah, the real challenge is discerning which information is good information and which information is bad information, because there could be good information that supersedes old information, which used to be good information, which isn't good information anymore because um, you know, subsequent studies have surpassed that information and definitely get beyond the headlines. Definitely got to get beyond headlines. Boy. Did that for New Year's. Yep. Sorry for people who are lactose intolerant. No cheese, dairy,
What does
milk.
the Mayo
Oh my
Clinic got
God.
to
Yeah.
say?
I have no idea what the Mayo Clinic has to
Margarine
say.
often tops butter when it comes to heart health.
Do that now. What year is that from?
Let me go look.
Because that matters.
I know. I'm trying to figure that out.
A lady will have a wonderful and fulfilling existence if she just focuses on doing her chores. Like, really? This day and age?
Oh,
It's from the 1950s.
2022.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
That's what the dietitian told me, because it doesn't
Now,
have
are they
trans
citing
I have heart
studies from
issues
2020
and
or are
high
they citing studies
cholesterol.
from 1950?
So,
And also, yeah, as Mike points out, individual results may vary because personal physiology and
I know bacon.
that sort of stuff can change from time to, or not change from time to time, but vary from person to person.
All right, let me explain something to you, Nomad. People used to think I was lactose intolerant because I couldn't have milk, but I had IBS. So maybe the lactose intolerant people are misdiagnosed, because cheese doesn't bother me.
Sometimes.
Just saying.
See, I knew a dude I used to work with who would always wear flip flops, and he had gotten his he always wore flip flops, and he used to surf. And when he went surfing, he got his left foot clipped by a seashell. His left foot was, and he lost his pinky toe and the ring finger toe, the left two far toes on his left foot. And he always wore flip flops in the office because it was a fairly casual office, and he was like, you could hear him going down the hall, flop, 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 flop. Flip flops annoyed me more than anything else because you could hear him going down the hallway, and it just drove me absolutely nuts. But what was really weird is because I worked with him in that office, I realized that every time when I saw him in the break room, it kind of gave me this anxiety, not just because of the flip flops, but because of his missing little digits, and that's when I realized I was lactose intolerant. Because he lactose, I was intolerant of that. It was a long walk to get to where I got to, but I did it, and I did it with 2 fewer toes than most people. Lactose intolerant. Oh, goddamn, I amuse myself so fucking much.
No.
See, if we would have ended the show at 2:00, we wouldn't have gotten my lactose intolerance joke.
Bacon does know a lot about things. He's a very smart dude.
Stop eating fast food. It's all trash. That is fact. It is all fact. But I don't like mangoes as much as I like double cheeseburgers. I really prefer double cheeseburgers. They're delicious. How much we consume, it's overprocessed, and a lack of physical activity. A lack of physical activity is huge. A sedentary lifestyle is a huge problem. Because I know that happened during the pandemic to me. I stopped doing stuff. I spent more time on the couch, more time watching TV, more time doing nothing. And even now, I spend more time doing nothing than I do stuff, and that's a problem. I noticed that problem. But I have like we used to always say when I was running that it's not the running that causes physical problems. It's when you stop running that you have physical problems. And yeah, it's pretty bad. It's bad stuff. When you fall into that sedentary lifestyle loop, it is a bad thing. To hear about the abandoned car that had a body missing a foot on the highway. That's terrible. That's even worse than my joke. Anyway, sunflowers. It's time for me to wrap this up. I got to go to bed. I've been up till 3 or 4 in the morning every day this weekend, or every day this weekend. I got to wrap this up. I'll be back on Wednesday night. We'll do another happy hour Wednesday night. Oh, I've got my interview with Hey Guido. We'll be talking about AI chatbots and their effect on the sex industry, along with deep fakes. It's going to be a very fun conversation. I'm looking forward to it. I'm super duper excited about it. Super duper excited about it. And y'all should tune in because it's going to be a great show. And she is going to be I hope, I've never actually talked to her, but I really do hope she's going to be a fun guest and an interesting guest and have very insightful stuff about her own business and her industry in general. And then Thursday, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do Thursday. We're going to do some stuff. I don't know what it is. Probably some stuff, some shit and some stuff. Some stuff and some shit. Some junk and some stuff. I don't know. Sunflowers, what do you got going on this week? Who are you going to be with this week? What shows are you going to pop into? Sunflowers. Sunflowers. Sunflowers?
Yes.
No.
You said
Okay.
what?
Oh, what are you?
You
Who are you going to be joining this week?
when am I going to
What
be
are your
joining?
plans this week? Yeah, what are your plans?
I'll be around for bacon.
Yeah,
Maybe
that'll be Friday night.
maybe a dude who makes whiskeys channel.
That's a possibility. I may be going live sometime in the middle of the day this week. I've got a couple of machines I want to get my hands
No,
on.
I probably can't because I have to work on Tuesday. Then Wednesday I have to go to the doctor, and then
All right.
I have a lot of stuff I gotta get done for my real life. So I'll probably see you at your night.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
That's fair.
and
That's
like for a few minutes I go
Um,
to chaos.
Okay. All right. So we can find you around the webs, chatting with folks. So we need to find Chaos and the goddamn bacon and probably some other folks, but that'll show up in time. Some people make it confusing on purpose and very polarizing when it literally deals with what you're made of. Hope the article helps that he wrote earlier, pinned up earlier, or posted up earlier. Anyway, I just suddenly got really fucking tired. I need to go have something to. I think I might have some popcorn and then go to bed. Anyway, Sunflowers, thanks for joining me tonight. This was fun conversation. This was an interesting show. I love the way our Sunday night happy hours can just go kind of wherever. I was debating whether or not I was even going to do a show tonight. I'm glad I did. So thanks for popping in. Thanks for saying hi. And thanks for everybody else out there too. Homeschool Time, Mike McClune, Nomad. Who else we got? Bacon. There's Drifter Nomad Bacon, Dustin. Saw Seriously Podcast popped in. Mr. Jigs popped in for a moment. There's a whole bunch of people who popped in all the way up and down the ledger here. So there you go. Sunflowers, what time is it where you're at? You're in Chicago or Illinois. It's Central Time, right? Son.
It's 2:25, just like you.
2:25. That's what I thought. It's Central Time there. Do y'all do daylight savings time in the summer?
Yeah, unfortunately. Hey, one year
Okay, so
when we switched the times, we made it longer. It was brighter longer.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the summer and spring when I would come home from school, in the springtime when I would come home from school, the Chicago Cubs would be on WGN, and it always pissed me off because on WGN is where I watched Bozo the Clown.
Yeah, but they
So-
don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they
You
don't do
have
that
to
anymore.
buy
They
a
do night
special
games.
channel.
Their games aren't daytime games, and that is right. They have their own network. They're not on WGN all the time. Same thing with the Astros. They're not on network TV like they used to be. They have their own channel. And I appreciate that, Drifter Nomad. Hit that notification bell. Come and visit me when we're doing daytime stuff. You can see the day in the life stuff that I do when I'm doing interesting things in the distillery, as opposed to sitting at my desk doing computer work. That's no fun to watch. It's boring. So yeah, there you go. Look, last night there was no Saturday Night Live stream. Jesus.
Bacon, I'm gonna send you a message on Instagram. Read it at some point.
Ending this year. I don't think daylight savings is ending anytime soon. It's going to end at some point this
I
year,
don't
but
know.
I don't think it's
I'm
ending.
confused.
It'll be back next year, I'm afraid. Daylight savings sucks. It's the worst. But anyway, all right, guys. You can hear it in my voice. It's getting deeper, and I'm getting more tired as we go on. But thank you, Nick. I do try to do some pretty interesting things in my shop. You know, we do the barreling and bottling and filling of the bottles and all that shit that we do. But also, there's the stuff in between the bottlings that I try to, when I'm in the shop, and I try to do in the shop, like the when I built my tables, when I built my bars, when I built my production studios. You know, there's the stuff that we do in between the stuff that we do, and you know, part of the build outs and projects that we do in the shop. So I try to keep things interesting. I try to keep people engaged. Try to build a fucking community so that we can sell more whiskey. That's the whole point. And thank you. I thought the bar. It's, you know, when I do live shows in the distillery, it's my backdrop now. So there you go. There you go. Sunflowers, tell everybody good night. Say good night, Sunflowers. See if this works.
I'm just kidding. Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
You did.
And Bacon,
I
check
said,
your
say
messages
good night,
in my.
Sunflowers. You're supposed to say good night, Sunflowers.
No, good night, everybody.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Sunflowers, for joining me
You're
again. I really
welcome.
do appreciate it. And I'll see you again next time.
Night.
All right. I'm going to close up shop. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, children of all ages. Yeah, we should do another food. You're right, Nick. We should do another food night. We should definitely do another food night. And I should definitely, when we get the steam generator installed, we will do I'll do a full deep dive in the steam generator. It is remarkably expensive to get that fucking thing installed. No daylight savings time this year is done. I don't think that's right. Daylight savings time 2023. It goes from March to November. Is it about to be permanent? The United States passed a bill to make daylight savings time permanent. It's not going away. They literally passed a bill to make it permanent. Some states are getting rid of it, but no, it's permanent. Sorry, dude. I mean, you're just going to have to forever and ever and ever move your clock forward and back once a year. Fall forward or fall back, spring forward every week. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages. It's time to wrap up the show. I need to go to bed. He had the little one this weekend too. Huh? Anyway, I appreciate y'all joining me. It's been a fun night. It's tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Today is now tomorrow, and it's time for me to go to bed. We've gotten our 11 hours worth of stream time in. I appreciate it. Cheers to all of you fine folks. I will see you again next time, if not before Wednesday, definitely Wednesday night when we have Hey Guido on the show talking about AI, chatbots, sex bots, and all that shit. So cheers tonight and good night. Be awesome to each other. Continue being awesome to each other. And remember, life is too short for bad whiskey and too long to do nothing about it. Peace, love, harmony, good night, and all that shit. Cheers. you.